Kate accepted a position caring for newborn twins with severe cerebral palsy, Gabriel and Sophia. While Gabriel showed promise, Sophia's progress seemed impossible. As Kate committed to relentless therapy, the children's grandmother arrived with prayers demanding miracles on her timeline. Richard, their father, worked endlessly, watched through security cameras, but remained absent. When Gabriel walked but Sophia couldn't, faith and science collided. For 4 years, Kate faced pressure from all sides. Forced treatments, fired and rehired, caught between a grandmother's visions and medical reality, but Kate never stopped. Every morning, she positioned Sophia's legs, counted reps, and refused to accept limitations without proof. What no one expected was that the true miracle wasn't prayer or medicine alone. It was relentless, quiet commitment when everyone else had given up. Welcome to Mr. Douglas' Tales. May you find strength in your own quiet battles. May patience walk beside you through every struggle, and may you never underestimate the power of simply showing up. I'd be truly grateful if you'd take a moment to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. It helps us reach more hearts with stories that matter. Now, let me tell you about a woman who worked miracles without prayer, while cameras recorded her every move. The cameras stayed on. Kate knelt between the twins on the nursery floor, both hands steadying Gabriel's left foot against the foam mat. The physical therapist had left the angle wrong. She adjusted it, felt the resistance in his ankle, held it there while counting. Sophia's right leg trembled in the brace beside her. Kate didn't look up at the mounted cameras in each corner. She'd stopped noticing them 3 months ago. She pressed Gabriel's knee down gently, released, repeated. The exercise sheet said 20 reps. She was on 14. The door opened behind her. She kept counting. 16, 17. You're still doing that. Richard's voice came from the doorway. Kate finished the set, lowered Gabriel's leg carefully, reached for Sophia's brace strap. The therapist comes at 3, he said. I know. Kate loosened the Velcro, checked the skin underneath for pressure marks. Then why? She needs it adjusted between sessions. Sophia made a small sound. Kate's fingers paused on the strap, then continued. She'd learned to separate discomfort from pain. This was discomfort. They have a schedule, Richard said. Kate removed the brace, set it aside, began the passive range of motion sequence. Sophia's knee bent to 40 degrees before resistance. The chart on the wall said they'd started at 35. Last week. Are you listening to me? Kate guided Sophia's leg through the motion again. The schedule doesn't cover between appointments. That's not your job. She completed the 3rd rep. No one else does it. Richard's phone buzzed. Kate heard him pull it from his pocket, the slight exhale that meant email, not text, work, not personal. We pay them enough, he said, reading his screen. Gabriel shifted on the mat. Kate moved back to him without standing, began the same sequence on his right side. His muscle tone was tighter than his sister's. Always had been. The equipment was expensive, Richard said. They should be using it properly. Kate counted silently. The equipment sat in the corner, a standing frame neither child could use yet, parallel bars set too wide, a gait trainer still in its box, all of it prescribed by doctors in Manhattan, none of it adjusted for 2-year-olds who couldn't bear weight. I have a meeting, Richard said. She nodded. He didn't leave immediately. Kate felt his presence in the doorway, the particular quality of his waiting. She'd learned the difference between waiting for her response and waiting for her to stop. This was the second kind. She finished Gabriel's set, reached for the exercise ball. The twins needed 20 minutes of core work before the therapist arrived. She'd timed it wrong this morning, started 15 minutes late because Sophia's breakfast had taken longer than usual. Now she'd have to choose which exercises to skip. Richard's footsteps retreated down the hall. Kate positioned Gabriel on his stomach over the ball, hands supporting his chest. The camera in the northeast corner had a clear view of this. So did the one above the bookshelf. She'd watched the footage once, weeks ago, on Richard's laptop while he'd been on a call. 12 hours of recording per day, motion activated, backed up to somewhere she couldn't access. She didn't know why he watched them. She knew that he did. Gabriel's arms trembled with the effort of holding his head up. Kate counted to 10, lowered him, repeated. His physical therapist said he needed to build endurance before they could work on weight-bearing. His neurologist said the MRI showed damage consistent with oxygen deprivation at birth. His developmental specialist said progress would be slow but possible. No one said what possible meant in years instead of months. Sophia began to fuss. Kate glanced at the clock. 2:47. 13 minutes until the therapist arrived. She lifted Gabriel off the ball, set him on the mat with his sister, retrieved 2 foam blocks from the bin. The twins couldn't stack blocks, couldn't grasp them properly, but the occupational therapist had said exposure mattered, even without function. Kate placed a block in Gabriel's palm, closed his fingers around it, held them there. His hand opened. The block fell. She picked it up, repeated the motion. Richard's voice carried from somewhere downstairs, on another call, speaking to someone in that particular tone he used for lawyers or accountants. People who controlled things he needed, controlled. Kate guided Gabriel's hand through the motion again. This time she held his fingers closed for a count of 5. The block stayed. She released his hand slowly. The block fell. Sophia made a sound that might have been imitation or frustration. Kate couldn't always tell. She reached for the second block, began the same sequence with Sophia's weaker left hand. The front door opened and closed. The therapist's voice echoed in the foyer. Bright, professional, the same greeting she used every session. Kate heard Richard's response, lower, followed by footsteps on the stairs. She'd run out of time. The therapist appeared in the doorway, rolling case in hand, smile already fixed. "How are we doing today?" Kate stood, stepped back from the mat. Sophia's brace needed adjusting. "I loosened it 10 minutes ago." The therapist's smile didn't change. "I can check that." She moved past Kate, knelt where Kate had been kneeling, ran through the same assessment Kate had already completed. Her hands were faster, more clinical. She made small sounds of approval that meant nothing about progress. Kate stayed near the wall. "You've been working on core strength," the therapist said, noticing the exercise ball. "Yes." "Good. We'll continue that today." She glanced up at Kate, still smiling. "You can take a break. This usually takes about 90 minutes. Kate looked at the twins on the mat. Gabriel had turned his head toward the therapist's voice. Sophia's hand was opening and closing on nothing. "I'll be downstairs," Kate said. She left the nursery, closed the door most of the way, stood in the hallway. The cameras in the hall were smaller, less obvious. One above the staircase, one near the primary bedroom. She'd found the third one by accident, tucked into the crown molding near the linen closet. She counted to 60, listening to the therapist's voice through the gap in the door. Cheerful instructions, the sound of Velcro, Gabriel's small grunt of effort. Then she walked downstairs. The kitchen was empty. Richard's office door was closed. Kate filled a glass with water, drank half, set it on the counter. The house was large enough that silence felt intentional, controlled. She checked her phone. No messages. She opened the cabinet under the sink, pulled out the cleaning supplies she kept there. The schedule on the refrigerator said deep cleaning happened Tuesdays and Fridays. Today was Thursday, but the secondary bathrooms hadn't been touched since Monday, and the guest suite needed attention before Richard's mother visited next week. Kate carried the supplies upstairs to the first guest room. She cleaned the bathroom mirror first, wiped down the counter, scrubbed the toilet. The work was mechanical, familiar. She'd done this in 4 houses before this one. Different families, different children, same motions. The grout in the shower needed bleach. She applied it, let it sit, moved to the bedroom, dusted the dresser, changed the sheets, vacuumed under the bed. Found a sock that didn't belong there, child-sized, blue, with a small hole in the toe. Gabriel's. She'd been looking for this last week. Kate held it for a moment, then folded it into her pocket. The therapist's voice filtered through the walls, still bright, still instructional, still on schedule. She finished the guest room, moved to the next one. By the time she returned to the main hallway, it was 4:23. The nursery door was open. The therapist was packing her equipment, speaking to someone on her phone in a lower voice. Not a work call. Kate waited at the top of the stairs. The therapist emerged, ended her call, smiled again. They did great today. Gabriel held a sitting position for almost 8 seconds. That's good. We're making real progress. The therapist shifted her bag. Same time Friday? Yes. Perfect. She started down the stairs, paused halfway. Oh, the standing frame. We should start incorporating that next week. Kate looked toward the nursery. They can't bear weight yet. Supported weight, the therapist corrected. It's developmental. Even if they can't hold themselves up, the position matters. I'll make sure it's ready. The therapist continued down. Kate heard the front door, the sound of a car starting. Silence. She returned to the nursery. The twins were back on the mat, positioned differently than she'd left them. Gabriel on his back, Sophia on her side. The exercise ball had been moved. The foam blocks were back in the bin. Kate knelt between them. Sophia's brace was fastened too tightly. Kate could see the indentation on her calf where the strap had pressed. She loosened it, checked the skin, adjusted the angle. Gabriel watched her. His eyes tracked movement now, had for 3 weeks. The neurologist said that was good. Expected. Kate picked up the exercise sheet the therapist had left. New instructions, same routines, 20 reps, 3 times daily. Core work, range of motion, exposure to standing position. She set the sheet aside. The cameras were still on. She reached for Gabriel's left foot, positioned it against the mat, began counting. Richard's mother arrived on Tuesday. Smaderstas. Heard the car in the driveway at 10:47, early but not unexpectedly so. She was in the kitchen, preparing lunch the twins wouldn't eat for another hour. She set down the knife, wiped her hands, listened. The front door opened without a knock. Richard? His mother's voice carried through the foyer, sharp, clear, accustomed to being heard. Kate heard Richard's office door open, his footsteps, the particular tone he used only with her. You made good time. The traffic was better than expected. A pause. Where are they? Upstairs. Kate has them. Kate turned off the stove, moved the pot to a cool burner. She dried her hands again, smoothed her shirt, left the kitchen. Richard's mother stood in the foyer, coat still on, purse over one arm. She was looking up the staircase. Waiting. Kate stopped at the base of the stairs. Good morning, Mrs. Hale. The woman's attention shifted. Kate. The twins. Are they awake? Yes, they're in the nursery. I'd like to see them. Kate glanced at Richard. He was checking his phone, not meeting either woman's gaze. They just finished physical therapy, Kate said. They'll be tired. I won't stay long. Mrs. Hale was already moving toward the stairs. Kate followed. The nursery door was open. The twins were on the mat, Gabriel attempting to roll from back to stomach, Sophia lying still in her brace. Kate had positioned them for tummy time 10 minutes ago. Gabriel had been making progress. Sophia hadn't. Mrs. Hale stopped in the doorway. Kate moved past her, knelt beside the mat. Gabriel had stopped trying to roll. Both twins were looking toward the door. They're so small, Mrs. Hale said. They're on track for their adjusted age, Kate said. She helped Gabriel complete the roll, positioned a toy within his reach. He didn't reach for it. Mrs. Hale entered the room slowly, as if approaching something fragile. Do they recognize people? Yes. Do they recognize me? Kate adjusted Sophia's position. You visit every few months. They don't have object permanence yet. What does that mean? If they can't see you, they don't remember you exist. Mrs. Hale was quiet for a moment. Then, that seems harsh. It's developmental. Kate lifted Sophia carefully, supporting her head and trunk, began the stretches the physical therapist had demonstrated. Sophia made a small sound of protest. Does that hurt her? No. It looks like it hurts. It's uncomfortable. Kate completed the stretch, lowered Sophia back to the mat. The muscles are tight. If we don't stretch them, they'll contract. Mrs. Hale moved closer, stopped a few feet from the mat. What are those cameras for? Kate's hands paused on Sophia's leg. Security. In the nursery? Throughout the house. Richard didn't mention that. Kate resumed the stretch sequence. He installed them when the twins were born. Mrs. Hale looked up at the nearest camera, then back at Kate. Are they always on? Yes. That seems excessive. Kate didn't respond. She finished Sophia's stretches, moved to Gabriel. He was watching the toy she'd placed near him, not reaching. His therapist said reaching required intention. Intention required connection between what he wanted and what his body could do. He didn't have that yet. Mrs. Hale sat in the rocking chair near the window, the one Kate used during night feedings. How often do they have therapy? Physical therapy 3 times a week. Occupational therapy twice. Speech evaluation monthly. Speech? There too? It's preventive. The neurologist wants to monitor development. What kind of development? Kate guided Gabriel's hand toward the toy, held it there, released. His fingers didn't close. Communication, feeding, sounds. They don't make sounds? They make sounds, not words. Mrs. Hale rocked slightly, stopped. What do the doctors say? They're making progress. That's not what I asked. Kate positioned Gabriel on his side, supporting his back with a rolled towel. The damage from birth was significant. They're working with what's possible. Possible, Mrs. Hale repeated. Yes, but not probable. Kate reached for the exercise ball. I need to finish their morning routine. Mrs. Hale stood. I should let you work. She moved toward the door, paused. Richard mentioned you've been with them since the hospital. Yes. That's unusual. Kate placed Gabriel on the ball, supporting his chest. Mrs. Hale hired me before they were born. I stayed. She must have trusted you. Kate didn't respond. She counted Gabriel's seconds on the ball. His therapist wanted 15. He was managing 8. His arms shook with effort. Mrs. Hale left the nursery. Kate heard her voice downstairs, speaking to Richard in a lower register. The words weren't clear, but the tone was. That particular inflection that meant concern mixed with something else. Assessment, maybe. Judgment. Gabriel's arms gave out. Kate lifted him off the ball, set him beside his sister on the mat. She looked up at the nearest camera. Then she continued the routine. That night, Kate woke to Sophia's cry. She checked her phone. 2:34 a.m. The cry came again, higher this time. Not hunger, discomfort. Kate left her room, crossed the hall to the nursery. The nightlight near the changing table cast enough glow to see both cribs. Gabriel was asleep. Sophia was on her back, one leg bent at an angle that looked wrong. Kate lifted her carefully, laid her on the changing table, removed the sleep sack. Sophia's brace had shifted during the night. The strap had twisted, pressing the hard plastic edge into the soft tissue behind her knee. The skin was red. Not broken, but close. Kate removed the brace, set it aside, examined the area. Sophia stopped crying, made a smaller sound, relief or exhaustion. "I know," Kate said quietly. She retrieved the lotion from the drawer, applied it gently to the irritated skin, massaged the area until Sophia's breathing evened. Then she checked the brace itself. The strap had a worn spot where it attached to the plastic. She'd noticed it last week, had mentioned it to the orthotist during their last appointment. He'd said they'd order a replacement. It hadn't arrived. Kate set the brace on the dresser, carried Sophia back to the crib without it. The doctors wanted the twins in their braces 18 hours per day, but 18 hours with damaged skin would create wounds. Wounds would mean infection. Infection would mean hospitalization. She'd learned to choose the lesser violation. Sophia settled in the crib. Kate stood there, hand resting on the rail, listening to both twins breathe. The camera above the changing table had a clear view of the dresser. She left the brace where it was. In the morning, Richard was standing in the nursery when she arrived. He was holding the brace. Kate stopped in the doorway. Gabriel was awake in his crib, watching. Sophia was still asleep. "This was on the dresser," Richard said. Kate entered the room. The strap was twisted. It was cutting into her leg. "So you removed it?" "Yes." "For how long?" "Since 2:30. Richard turned the brace over in his hands. "The doctor said—" "I know what the doctor said." Kate moved to Sophia's crib, checked her leg. The redness had faded overnight. "The strap is worn. The orthotist was supposed to send a replacement." "When?" "Last week." Richard set the brace on the changing table. "Call them today." "I've called twice." "Then call again." He looked up at the camera, then back at Kate. "The schedule exists for a reason." Kate lifted Sophia from the crib. She was awake now, eyes open, tracking movement. "The schedule assumes the equipment works." "The equipment is fine." "Look at the strap." Richard picked up the brace again, examined it more closely. The worn spot was visible, a thin line where the material had separated from the stitching. He set it down. "I'll call them myself." "Thank you." He didn't leave immediately. Kate carried Sophia to the EY changing table, began the morning routine. Diaper change, skin check, gentle stretches before breakfast. "My mother thinks we should get another opinion," Richard said. Kate's hands paused on Sophia's leg. "About what?" "Their prognosis. We've had 4 opinions. A different kind of specialist." Kate resumed the stretches. "What kind?" She didn't specify. Richard moved toward the door. "She's concerned about their development." "Everyone is concerned about their development. She thinks they should be further along." Kate lowered Sophia's leg carefully, reached for the clean diaper. "Further along than what?" "Than they are." She fastened the diaper, lifted Sophia, turned to face Richard. "They're progressing exactly as their neurologist predicted. Slow but measurable." "My mother doesn't think—" "Your mother visits once every 3 months." Kate kept her voice level. "She doesn't see the daily changes." Richard's jaw tightened. "She raised 4 children. None of them had cerebral palsy." The words landed between them. Richard had never used that term, neither had Kate. The doctors had explained the diagnosis carefully: spastic diplegia, mild to moderate, prognosis uncertain. But cerebral palsy was the category, the label, the thing that separated the twins from the developmental milestones printed on charts in every pediatrician's office. "We don't know that's what this is," Richard said finally. Kate adjusted Sophia in her arms. "Yes, we do." He left the nursery. Kate carried Sophia to the rocking chair, settled her carefully, began the feeding routine. Sophia took the bottle slowly. Her suck reflex was weak, always had been. The speech therapist said it might improve with time. Might. Gabriel began to fuss. Kate glanced at his crib, then at the clock. 6:47. She needed to feed him by 7, start his exercises by 7:30, have both twins ready for the occupational therapist at 9:00. She was already 10 minutes behind. Sophia finished 3 ounces, turned her head away. Kate set the bottle aside, lifted her to her shoulder, patted her back gently. Burping took longer now than it had 3 months ago. The reflux had worsened. Gabriel's fussing escalated to crying. Kate stood, still holding Sophia, moved to his crib. She couldn't lift him while holding his sister. She couldn't set Sophia down before she burped. She stood between the cribs, patting Sophia's back, making sounds meant to soothe Gabriel from a distance. It didn't work. He cried harder. Sophia spit up on Kate's shoulder. Not much, but enough to seep through her shirt. Kate closed her eyes, counted to 5, opened them. The camera in the corner was still on. She carried Sophia back to the changing table, laid her down, retrieved a cloth to clean her face and Kate's shirt. Then she lifted Gabriel from his crib, settled him on her other arm, carried both twins to the rocking chair. Gabriel latched onto his bottle immediately. Sophia lay against Kate's other shoulder, eyes half closed. Kate fed Gabriel with one hand, supported Sophia with the other, and rocked. Mrs. Hale stayed for a week. She spent most of her time in the living room or the guest suite, appearing in the nursery at irregular intervals. Always watching, rarely touching. On the 3rd day, she brought a prayer book. Kate was kneeling on the mat with the twins, working through their midday exercises. Mrs. Hale entered without knocking, sat in the rocking chair, opened the book. "Do you believe in God?" she asked. Kate kept her eyes on Gabriel's legs, guiding him through his stretches. "That's personal." "It's a simple question. It's not relevant to their care." Mrs. Hale was quiet for a moment. Pages rustled. "I've been praying for them." Kate moved to Sophia, began the same routine. "That's your choice. Do you think prayer can help?" "I think their therapy helps. That's not what I asked." Kate completed the stretch, adjusted Sophia's position. "Belief doesn't change their diagnosis. It changes outcomes. Outcomes follow treatment." Mrs. Hale closed the book. "You're very practical." "I have to be. That must be lonely." Kate looked up. Mrs. Hale was watching her with an expression Kate couldn't parse, something between pity and assessment. "I'm not lonely," Kate said. "No." Mrs. Hale stood, moving closer to the mat. "But you're alone with them. All day, every day." Kate returned her attention to the twins. "That's my job. It's more than a job. It's exactly a job." Mrs. Hale knelt on the opposite side of the mat, slowly, joints protesting. "May I try?" Kate hesitated. "Try what?" "The exercises. They're specific. The therapist. I can follow instructions." Kate glanced at the exercise sheet on the wall, then at Mrs. Hale's hands. They were older, less steady, but she'd asked. That was new. "Start with Gabriel," Kate said. "Left leg. Bend the knee, push gently on the sole of his foot until you feel resistance." Mrs. Hale placed her hands where Kate indicated, moved carefully. Too carefully. "More pressure," Kate said. "I don't want to hurt him." "You won't. His muscles are tight. You have to work against the resistance." Mrs. Hale adjusted, pressed harder. Gabriel made a small sound. Mrs. Hale stopped. "He doesn't like it. He doesn't like being uncomfortable. That's different from pain." Mrs. Hale resumed, completed 3 reps, looked up at Kate. "How many? 20? 20? Mrs. Hale's hands paused. 3 times a day? Minimum." Mrs. Hale continued in silence, counting under her breath. When she finished, she sat back on her heels, breathing slightly harder. "You do this alone?" "Yes." "For both of them?" "Yes." "Every day?" "Every day." Mrs. Hale looked at the twins, then at Kate. That's not sustainable. It's necessary. Richard should hire more help. He has therapists 3 times a week. That's not enough. Kate reached for the exercise ball. It's what we have. Mrs. Hale didn't argue. She watched. Kate position Gabriel on the ball, count his seconds, repeat. Then she stood, joints protesting again, and left the nursery. That evening, Kate heard voices from Richard's office. She was in the kitchen, preparing the twins' dinner. Soft foods, pured to the right consistency, divided into portions they wouldn't finish. The voices were low but intense. Mrs. Hale's sharper, Richard's defensive. Kate couldn't make out words, but she recognized the tone. She'd heard it before, in other houses, when family members visited and saw the reality of care, when the distance between expectation and possibility became visible. The office door opened. Mrs. Hale emerged first, face set. Richard followed, still talking. Not a question of resources. Then what is it a question of? Mrs. Hale stopped, turned to face him. Because from where I'm standing, those children need more than one person. Kate is highly qualified. Kate is exhausted. She hasn't complained. She wouldn't. Mrs. Hale picked up her purse from the hall table. She's not the type. What type is she? The kind who keeps going until she collapses. Mrs. Hale pulled out her car keys. I've seen it before. Richard's expression shifted. Something defensive solidifying into something harder. Are you suggesting I'm not taking care of them? I'm suggesting you're not here. I'm working. Someone has to, yes, someone has to work. And someone has to be here. And right now, that someone is a woman you pay by the hour who hasn't had a day off in 3 months. Kate moved away from the kitchen doorway, back to the counter. She heard Richard's response, too low to distinguish. Then Mrs. Hale's footsteps toward the front door, the door opening and closing. Richard appeared in the kitchen. Kate didn't look up. She was dividing applesauce into small bowls. My mother thinks I should hire another person, Richard said. I heard. What do you think? Kate set down the spoon. I think your mother is trying to help. That's not what I asked. She turned to face him. If you hire someone else, the twins will have to adjust to a new person. New voice, new touch, new routine. That will set back their progress. For how long? Weeks. Maybe months. That's acceptable. Is it? Richard leaned against the door frame. You can't do this indefinitely. I can do it as long as necessary. That's not sustainable. Your mother already said that. She's right. Kate picked up the bowls, moved toward the door. Richard didn't step aside immediately. She stopped, waited. I'm not trying to replace you, he said. I know. I'm trying to... He stopped, reset. You need help. What I need is for the orthotist to send the replacement strap. Kate. She looked at him directly. I'm managing. Barely. That's still managing. He stepped aside. She carried the bowls upstairs. Mrs. Hale left the next morning. She came to the nursery before she departed, stood in the doorway while Kate was changing Gabriel's diaper. I left something for you, she said. Kate fastened the diaper. You didn't need to do that. It's not a gift, it's a book. Thank you. It's about faith. Kate lifted Gabriel, settled him in the crib. Mrs. Hale, you don't have to read it. The older woman's voice was firm, but it's there, in the kitchen, if you want it. She left before Kate could respond. Kate finished the morning routine, fed both twins, settled them for their nap. Then she went downstairs. The book was on the kitchen counter, small, leather-bound, well-worn. The title was embossed in gold, Prayers for the Impossible. Kate opened it. The pages were filled with handwritten notes in the margins, passages underlined, dates marked next to certain prayers. Personal annotations spanning years. This wasn't a book Mrs. Hale had purchased for Kate. This was her own. Kate closed it, left it on the counter, returned upstairs. The replacement strap arrived 2 weeks later. Kate installed it on Sophia's brace, tested the fit, adjusted the tension. The new strap was stiffer than the old one. It would take time to break in, time for Sophia's skin to adjust. She put the brace on carefully, fastened it, checked for pressure points. Sophia fussed but didn't cry. Kate carried her to the mat, settled her next to Gabriel, began their afternoon exercises. The physical therapist arrived at 3. Kate stepped back, let her work. The therapist positioned Sophia in the standing frame for the first time. A padded harness supporting her trunk, her feet barely touching the platform below. "This is good," the therapist said. "We're starting supported standing." Sophia's legs trembled with effort. Her feet couldn't flatten against the platform. The therapist adjusted the straps, raised the platform slightly. "How long should she be in this?" Kate asked. "Start with 5 minutes. Work up to 15 over the next month." Kate watched Sophia's face. She wasn't crying, but her eyes were wide, uncertain. "Is she in pain?" Kate asked. "Discomfort," the therapist said. "This is a new position. Her body isn't used to it." Gabriel watched from the mat. The therapist had said he'd be next, once Sophia demonstrated tolerance. After 5 minutes, the therapist removed Sophia from the frame. Her legs couldn't hold her even with support. Kate took her, settled her on the mat beside her brother. The therapist made notes on her chart. "They're progressing. Slower than optimal, but within expected parameters." "What's optimal?" Kate asked. "For their diagnosis, standing with minimal support by 3, walking with assistance by 4. "And if they don't?" The therapist looked up. "We adjust expectations." Kate nodded. The therapist packed her equipment. "Same time Thursday?" "Yes." After she left, Kate positioned both twins for tummy time. Gabriel was getting stronger, could hold his head up for 30 seconds now. Sophia struggled to 10. Kate's phone buzzed. A text from Richard. "Running late, dinner meeting, don't wait up." She set the phone aside. The twins needed baths, dinner, bedtime routine. 3 hours of work minimum. She'd sleep when they slept. If they slept. Sophia had been waking twice a night lately. Something was bothering her, but Kate hadn't identified what. Not hunger, not the brace, not temperature. Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. Maybe the simple weight of a body that didn't work the way it should. Kate lifted Sophia, held her against her chest. The baby's head rested on her shoulder, breath warm against Kate's neck. "I know," Kate said quietly. The camera in the corner captured everything except the words. At midnight, Kate woke to silence. She checked her phone, no notifications. Checked the baby monitor, both twins asleep. She lay in bed, listening. Silence in a house with infants was never innocent. It meant something had shifted. Something wasn't right. Kate got up, crossed the hall to the nursery. Both cribs were occupied, both twins breathing. But Gabriel's position was wrong. Too still, body rigid in a way that looked intentional. Kate reached into the crib, touched his arm gently. He was burning. She lifted him carefully, carried him to the changing table. The thermometer read 103.2, high enough for concern, not yet high enough for emergency. She stripped him to his diaper, felt his body for other signs. No rash, no swelling, no obvious injury. Gabriel began to cry, weak, exhausted. Kate cradled him, moved to the rocking chair, tried to decide. Call Richard, call the pediatrician, wait for fever to break, drive to emergency room now. The fever reducer was in the medicine cabinet. She'd given him a dose that morning, routine, scheduled. She could give another in 3 hours. 3 hours felt too long. Kate carried Gabriel to her bedroom, laid him on her bed, retrieved the medicine. He took it without resistance, too tired to fight. She sat beside him, hand on his chest, counting his breaths. 1 a.m., his temperature was 103 fièvre. At 2 a.m., 103.8. At 2:30, Kate called Richard. He answered on the fourth ring. What's wrong? Gabriel has a fever, 103.8 and rising. Did you give him medicine? At midnight. What did the pediatrician say? I haven't called yet. Why not? I wanted to see if the medicine would work first. Richard was quiet. Kate heard movement, the rustle of sheets. Call them now. It's 2:30 in the morning. They have an after-hours line. I know. Then call it. Kate looked at Gabriel on her bed. His eyes were closed, but his breathing was rapid, shallow. If his temperature hits 104, I'm taking him to the ER, she said. I'll come home. You don't need to. I'm coming home. He ended the call. Kate called the pediatrician's after-hours line. A nurse answered, took the information, asked the routine questions: age, weight, symptoms, duration. If the temperature goes above 104, or if he has a seizure, go to the emergency room immediately. Nurse said. Otherwise, continue fever reducer every 4 hours and monitor closely. That's all? Fever is the body's immune response. We don't suppress it unless necessary. Kate thanked her, ended the call. At 3 a.m., Gabriel's temperature was 103 IX. At 3:45, Richard arrived home. He came directly to Kate's room, stopped in the doorway. Kate was still sitting beside Gabriel, hand on his chest. How is he? Richard asked. Temperature is starting to drop. Richard entered, moved to the other side of the bed, looked down at his son. Gabriel's face was flushed, hair damp with sweat. Should we take him in? Richard asked. Not yet. You're sure? Yes. Richard sat on the edge of the bed. He didn't touch Gabriel, just looked at him. This will keep happening, he said finally. Fevers? Complications, infections, things that wouldn't be serious for other children. Kate adjusted Gabriel's position slightly. Yes. My mother thinks we should try something else. Something else? A different kind of treatment. Kate looked at him. What kind? Richard met her gaze. Prayer. The word sat between them. Your mother left me a prayer book, Kate said. I know. Did you read it? No. Neither did I. Richard looked back at Gabriel. She believes faith can heal them. Do you believe that? I don't know what I believe. Gabriel stirred, made a small sound. Kate placed her hand on his forehead, still hot but cooler than before. The medicine is working, she said. This time. Yes, this time. Richard stood. I'll be in my office if you need me. He left. Kate heard his footsteps on the stairs, the sound of his office door closing. At 5 a.m., Gabriel's temperature was 102.1. At 6:30, he woke, fussy but alert. Kate carried him to the nursery, changed his diaper, checked his temperature again. 100.8. Still elevated, but manageable. Sophia was awake in her crib, watching. Kate fed Gabriel first, then his sister. Both ate less than usual. The fever was breaking, but it had taken energy Gabriel couldn't afford to lose. The physical therapist called at 8 a.m. Kate explained the situation. The therapist canceled their session, said to reschedule when Gabriel was well. Kate didn't know when that would be. She spent the day on the nursery floor, keeping both twins quiet, monitoring Gabriel's temperature, adjusting Sophia's brace when she fussed. The house was silent except for small sounds. Baby's breathing, the hum of the refrigerator, her own movement. Richard appeared at 2 p.m. How is he? Better. Temperature is down to 99.6. Did the therapist come? I canceled. Richard nodded. I have calls all afternoon. Will you be all right? Yes. He started to leave, paused. My mother wants to come back. Kate looked up from the mat. When? This weekend. She wants to pray with them. In the nursery? Yes. Kate returned her attention to the twins. That's your decision. You don't approve. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. Kate positioned Gabriel on his stomach, began his stretches. His muscles were tighter than yesterday. The fever had undone 2 days of progress. Your mother is welcome to visit, Kate said finally, but I won't stop their therapy for prayer. She's not asking you to. She will. Richard left without responding. Mrs. Hale arrived Saturday morning. She came directly to the nursery, prayer book in hand. Richard followed, standing in the doorway while his mother knelt beside the mat. Kate was working Gabriel through his exercises. She didn't stop. May I pray with them? Mrs. Hale asked. Kate completed Gabriel's set before answering. If it doesn't interfere with their routine. It won't take long. How long? 10 minutes. Kate looked at the schedule on the wall. The twins had occupational therapy at 10 Harry's. It was 9:23. She needed to feed them, change them, complete their pre-therapy stretches. After therapy, Kate said. Mrs. Hale's expression tightened. I'd prefer to do it now. Now interferes with their schedule. 10 minutes won't. 10 minutes puts us 15 minutes behind. That means late feeding, rushed prep, stressed babies during therapy. Richard stepped into the room. Kate, my mother. Your mother is welcome to pray after therapy. 11:30. I'll have them ready. Mrs. Hale stood slowly. You don't believe this will help. I believe therapy helps. That's not what I asked. Kate lifted Gabriel, settled him in the bouncer seat. Belief doesn't change their diagnosis. It changes what's possible. What's possible is determined by their neurology, not faith. Mrs. Hale opened the prayer book, marked a page with her finger. You're wrong. Maybe. Kate moved to Sophia's crib, lifted her out. But I'm still right about the schedule. She carried Sophia to the changing table, began the diaper change. Behind her, she heard Mrs. Hale and Richard speaking in low voices, then footsteps leaving the room. Kate finished the change, checked Sophia's brace, adjusted the strap. The new material had broken in. No more pressure marks, small progress. At 11:30, after therapy, Kate brought the twins back to the nursery. Mrs. Hale was waiting in the rocking chair. Are they ready? She asked. They're tired. Kate positioned both twins on the mat. Keep it short. Mrs. Hale opened her prayer book, began to read. The words were formal, old-fashioned. Prayers for healing, prayers for strength, prayers for miracles. Her voice was steady, practiced. The twins didn't react. Gabriel watched the ceiling. Sophia's eyes were half closed. Kate stood near the wall, arms crossed. Mrs. Hale finished reading, closed the book. Then she placed one hand on each twin's head. In Jesus' name, she said. Walk. Silence. Gabriel blinked. Sophia didn't move. Mrs. Hale kept her hands in place, eyes closed. By faith, not by sight. Walk. Kate watched the woman's face, the intensity there, the conviction. Nothing happened. Mrs. Hale opened her eyes, removed her hands slowly. She looked at Kate. Do you see? See what? The power of faith. Kate looked at the twins on the mat. Neither had moved. Both were exactly as they'd been 5 minutes ago. I see 2 children who are tired and need to eat lunch, Kate said. Mrs. Hale stood, moved toward the door. She stopped beside Kate. One day you'll understand. Understand what? That some things can't be measured. She left the nursery. Kate knelt beside the twins, lifted Gabriel first. His body was limp with exhaustion. She carried him to his high chair, fastened the straps, began preparing his lunch. Behind her, Sophia began to fuss. Kate moved between them, feeding one, soothing the other, watching the clock, maintaining the schedule that kept them stable. At 3 p.m., Richard appeared. My mother is leaving. Kate nodded, continued feeding Sophia. She's upset, Richard said. I know. She thinks you're preventing a miracle. Kate set down the spoon. I'm preventing disruption. She means well. I know that too. Richard leaned against the doorframe. Do you think prayer could help them? I think prayer comforts the person praying. That's not an answer. Kate picked up the spoon again. It's the only answer I have. He left. Kate finished feeding the twins, cleaned them, settled them for their afternoon nap. Then she sat in the rocking chair, hands in her lap, and stared at nothing. The prayer book was still on the dresser where Mrs. Hale had left it. Kate didn't open it. 3 weeks later, Gabriel took a step. It happened during physical therapy. The therapist had him in the standing frame, supporting his weight while encouraging him to shift his feet. Put your foot here, the therapist said, pointing to a marker on the platform. Gabriel looked down. His left foot lifted slightly, moved forward, touched the marker. 1 step. The therapist's face lit. Did you see that? Kate had been standing against the wall. She moved closer. Do it. Again. The therapist repositioned Gabriel. 1 more time, buddy. Show us. Gabriel's foot lifted, moved, touched the marker. 2 times. Kate's chest tightened. That's intentional movement, the therapist said. He understood the instruction. Kate knelt beside the frame, level with Gabriel's face. Again. He looked at her, then at his foot, then lifted it deliberately, moved it to the marker. 3 times. The therapist removed Gabriel from the frame, set him on the mat. This is significant progress. Kate sat back on her heels. How significant? If he can repeat this consistently, we can start working on walking with support. When? Next month, maybe sooner. Kate looked at Gabriel on the mat. He was breathing hard, exhausted from the effort, but his eyes were alert. Tracking. What about Sophia? Kate asked. The therapist glanced at the other twin and her bouncer. Sophia is progressing differently. Meaning? Meaning Gabriel has more muscle tone in his legs. Sophia's is more affected. So he might walk before her. Possibly. Possibly, Kate repeated. The therapist packed her equipment. This is good news. Kate nodded. After the therapist left, Kate called Richard. He was in a meeting. She left a voicemail. Gabriel took a step. Call me. He called back at 6 p.m. Tell me, he said. Kate described the session while preparing the twins' dinner. Richard listened without interrupting. That's incredible, he said when she finished. It's progress. It's more than progress, He stopped. Should we tell my mother? Kate sliced avocado into small pieces. Tell her what? That he's walking. He took 1 step with full support. That's not walking. But it's the beginning. Maybe. You don't sound excited. Kate set down the knife. I'm not letting myself be excited until it's consistent. Why not? Because if it's not consistent, it was a fluke. It wasn't a fluke. You saw it. I saw it once. Richard was quiet. I'm coming home. Early. I want to see him try. He's exhausted. He won't do it again today. Tomorrow, then. The therapist comes back Thursday. I'll work from home Thursday. Kate distributed food into small bowls. You don't need to do that. I want to see my son walk. He's not walking yet, but he will be. Kate carried the bowls upstairs. Maybe. Thursday, Gabriel didn't repeat the step. Richard sat in the nursery, laptop closed, watching the therapist position Gabriel in the standing frame. Show your dad, the therapist said cheerfully. Gabriel stared at the marker on the platform. Come on, buddy, Richard said. Gabriel's foot didn't move. The therapist tried different cues. Verbal, visual, physical prompts. Nothing. After 20 minutes, she removed him from the frame. Sometimes they need more time. Richard looked at Kate. You said he did it 3 times. He did. Then why won't he do it now? Kate knelt beside Gabriel on the mat. Because he's not a performing animal. I didn't mean you wanted to see him walk. He's not ready to walk on command. Richard stood, picked up his laptop. I have calls. He left the nursery. The therapist continued the session, working with Sophia while Gabriel rested. Kate watched in silence. After the therapist departed, Kate positioned both twins on the mat for tummy time. Gabriel lifted his head, held it for 40 seconds. A new record. Sophia managed 12. Kate's phone buzzed. A text from Mrs. Hale. Richard told me about Gabriel's step. Praise God, I knew prayer would help. Kate stared at the message. She didn't reply. Gabriel took another step the following week, then another. By the end of the month, he could take 3 consecutive steps in the standing frame before his legs gave out. Sophia hadn't taken any. The physical therapist increased Gabriel's sessions to 4 times per week. Decreased Sophia's to twice. We need to focus resources where progress is happening, the therapist explained. Kate was folding laundry in the nursery. Progress is happening with both of them. Gabriel's is more pronounced. That doesn't mean Sophia isn't improving. I'm not saying she's not improving. I'm saying Gabriel is ready for intensive work. Kate set down the onesie she was folding. And Sophia isn't? Sophia needs a different approach. What approach? The therapist hesitated. I'd like to bring in a colleague, someone who specializes in asymmetric presentations. Asymmetric? When twins develop differently. Kate looked at Sophia and her bouncer. The baby was watching Gabriel on the mat, not attempting to move herself. When can your colleague come? Kate asked. Next week. I'll send you the details. After the therapist left, Kate lifted Sophia from the bouncer, carried her to the mat beside her brother, positioned her for tummy time. Sophia's arms shook with effort. She couldn't lift her head more than a few inches. Kate placed her hand on Sophia's back, applying gentle pressure. Come on. Sophia's arms gave out. Kate repositioned her, tried again. Same result. Gabriel watched from his spot on the mat. He'd learned to roll from stomach to back last week. Now he did it without prompting, over and over, practicing. Kate's phone rang. Richard. Can you talk? He asked. I'm with the twins. I have news. Kate moved to the rocking chair, still watching Sophia. What news? My mother wants to come back. She says she has something to show us. Show us what? She wouldn't say, but she sounded different. Different how? Excited, certain. Richard paused. She thinks she knows how to help Sophia. Kate's grip tightened on the phone. Help her how? She'll explain when she gets here. When is that? This weekend. Kate looked at the schedule on the wall. The new specialist was coming Monday. The occupational therapist Tuesday. Speech evaluation Thursday. I can't change their schedule again, Kate said. She knows that. She'll work around it. Richard, please, just hear her out. Kate ended the call. Sophia had rolled onto her side, was staring at nothing. Kate lifted her, held her against her chest, and rocked. The cameras captured everything. Mrs. Hale arrived Saturday with a man Kate didn't recognize. He was younger than Mrs. Hale, maybe 40, dressed in casual clothing, carrying a worn leather bag. This is Pastor Michael, Mrs. Hale said. He has a healing ministry. Kate was in the kitchen, preparing lunch. She set down the knife. A healing ministry. Yes. Mrs. Hale's voice was firm. He's prayed over dozens of children. Many have been healed. Pastor Michael extended his hand. It's good to meet you. Kate didn't take it. What kind of healing? Physical, spiritual. He smiled. Whatever God wills. The twins have doctors. I'm not replacing their doctors. Pastor Michael said. I'm supplementing their care with prayer. Supplementing, Kate repeated. Mrs. Hale moved past them toward the stairs. Where are they? Upstairs, Kate followed. They're napping. We'll wait. In the nursery, Mrs. Hale and Pastor Michael settled in the chairs near the window. Kate stood by the cribs, arms crossed. How does this work? She asked. Pastor Michael opened his bag, pulled out a small bottle of oil. I anoint them. Pray over them. Ask God to heal. And then what? Then we wait for God to move. How long does that take? It's already happening. He smiled again. Gabriel took a step, didn't he? Kate's jaw tightened. Gabriel took a step because of physical therapy. Physical therapy is a tool. God is the healer. Then why does Sophia still need a brace? Because her healing isn't complete yet. Kate moved between the pastor and the cribs. They're not props for your faith. Mrs. Hale stood. Kate, please. No. Kate's voice was quiet but firm. You can pray for them. You can bring whoever you want into this house, but you will not touch them without their father's permission. Richard appeared, in the doorway. What's going on? Mrs. Hale turned to him. Kate won't let Pastor Michael pray with the twins. That's not what I said. Kate kept her eyes on Richard. I said he needs your permission before anointing them with oil. Richard looked at the pastor, then at his mother. What does anointing involve? Placing oil on their foreheads, Pastor Michael said. A traditional practice. Biblical. Is it safe? Perfectly safe. Richard looked at Kate. What do you think? I think it's your decision. That's not what I asked. Kate glanced at the cribs, then back at Richard. I think if you believe it will help, you should allow it. But I won't participate. Why not? Because I don't believe oil changes neurology. Mrs. Hale's face flushed. You have no faith. I have faith in science. Science has limits. So does prayer. Richard held up a hand. Enough. He turned to Pastor Michael. You can pray with them, but keep it brief. They need their routine. Kate moved, too, the wall as the pastor approached the cribs. He lifted Gabriel first, held him carefully, applied a drop of oil to his forehead. Gabriel fussed. In Jesus' name, Pastor Michael said, be healed, walk in wholeness. He set Gabriel down, repeated the process with Sophia. Sophia began to cry. Kate moved forward. She's hungry. Just a moment. She's hungry now. Kate lifted Sophia from the pastor's arms, carried her to the changing table. Pastor Michael finished his prayer, stepped back. It's done. Mrs. Hale touched his arm. Thank you. Richard showed them out. Kate heard voices in the hallway, the front door closing, Richard's footsteps returning. He stood in the nursery doorway. You could have been kinder. Kate was changing Sophia's diaper. I was kind. I could have said no. My mother is trying to help. Your mother is trying to feel useful. What's wrong with that? Kate lifted Sophia, settled her for feeding. Nothing, as long as it doesn't interfere with their care. How is prayer interfering? When it replaces therapy. It's not replacing therapy. It will. Kate adjusted the bottle angle. Your mother will start attributing Gabriel's progress to prayer instead of treatment. And when Sophia doesn't progress as quickly, she'll say Sophia needs more prayer instead of different therapy. Richard was quiet. Then, you think Gabriel's progress has nothing to do with prayer? I think Gabriel's progress has everything to do with repetition, consistency, and targeted physical therapy. You can't know that. I can observe cause and effect. So can my mother. Kate looked up. Your mother sees what she wants to see. And you don't? The question hung between them. Gabriel began to fuss. Richard moved to his crib, lifted him, carried him to Kate. She handed him a bottle. They sat in silence, each feeding a twin. My mother thinks Sophia will walk, Richard said finally. When? Soon. She believes the healing is happening now. Kate glanced at Sophia in her arms. The baby was eating slowly, eyes half closed. Based on what? Faith. Faith doesn't grow muscle tone. You don't know what faith can do. Kate finished feeding Sophia, lifted her to her shoulder for burping. I know what it can't do. It can't change their MRI results. It can't reverse oxygen deprivation. It can't rebuild neural pathways that never formed. Richard burped Gabriel quietly. You're so certain. I'm realistic. Realistic is just another word for giving up. Kate looked at him directly. I have never given up on them. But you've accepted limits. I've accepted their diagnosis. That's the same thing. No. Kate's voice was quiet. It's not. Richard stood, carried Gabriel to his crib, laid him down carefully. Then he left the nursery without another word. Kate remained in the rocking chair, holding Sophia. The prayer book was still on the dresser. Kate didn't look at it. The new specialist arrived Monday morning. Her name was Dr. Chen. She was younger than Kate expected, dressed in athletic clothing, carrying a large equipment bag. You must be Kate, she said. Yes. I've read Sophia's file. I'd like to do a full assessment. Kate led her to the nursery. Sophia was on the mat, Gabriel beside her. Both were doing tummy time. Dr. Chen knelt immediately, began examining Sophia without introducing herself to the baby first. Her hands were quick, clinical, assessing muscle tone, joint flexibility, reflexes. How long has she been in the brace? Dr. Chen asked. Since she was 6 months old? Does she wear it at night? No, the strap was causing skin breakdown. Dr. Chen removed the brace, examined Sophia's leg. I see some atrophy here. She touched the calf. This muscle should be more developed. She can't use it properly. Has anyone tried constraint therapy? Kate paused. What's that? We restrain the stronger side to force the weaker side to work. Dr. Chen stood, retrieved something from her bag, a soft fabric, restraint. Like this. Kate looked at the device. You want to restrain her arm? Temporarily, during therapy sessions. She can barely use that arm. Which is why we need to force her to try. Kate glanced at Gabriel, who was watching the stranger with wide eyes. That sounds cruel. It's effective. Dr. Chen moved to her bag again, pulled out printed research papers. Studies show significant improvement in motor function when I've seen the studies. Dr. Chen stopped. Then you know this could help her. I know it's controversial. All effective treatment is controversial at first. Kate moved between Dr. Chen and Sophia. I need to talk to her father before we try anything new. Of course. Dr. Chen packed the restraint away. But I'd encourage you not to wait too long. The earlier we intervene, the better her outcomes. After Dr. Chen left, Kate called Richard. She wants to restrain Sophia's arm, Kate said. Why? To force her to use the weaker one. Does that work? Sometimes. Then let her try. Kate looked at Sophia on the mat. It might upset her. She's already upset. She can't move like her brother. We don't know if she's aware of that. Don't we? Richard paused. I'm approving the treatment. Richard, my mother was right about one thing. We need to try everything. He ended the call. Kate sat on the floor beside Sophia, ran her hand over the baby's back. Sophia turned her head toward Kate's touch, made a small sound. I know, Kate said. The cameras kept recording. The constraint therapy began Thursday. Dr. Chen arrived with the restraint and a new determination. She fastened the soft cuff around Sophia's stronger right arm, secured it to her torso. Sophia immediately began to cry. That's normal, Dr. Chen said. She'll adjust. How long does she have to wear it? 2 hours during therapy. Will increase gradually. Kate watched Sophia struggle against the restraint, her weaker left arm unable to compensate for the loss of her right. The baby's face turned red, tears streaming. "This is too much," Kate said. "This is necessary." Dr. Chen positioned Sophia on her stomach, placed a toy just out of reach. Come on, sweetheart. Reach for it." Sophia couldn't. Her left arm trembled with effort but didn't extend far enough. Dr. Chen moved the toy closer. "Try again." Sophia's crying escalated. Kate moved forward. "That's enough. We've barely started." "I said that's enough." Kate removed the restraint, lifted Sophia, held her against her chest. Dr. Chen stood. "If you can't follow through with treatment, I can't help her." "Then don't." Dr. Chen packed her bag. "You're preventing her from improving." "I'm preventing her from being traumatized. You're being emotional instead of practical." Kate looked at the woman directly. "I'm being human." Dr. Chen left. Kate carried Sophia to the rocking chair, sat down, rocked slowly. Sophia's crying gradually subsided, reduced to small hiccups. Gabriel watched from the mat, silent. When Richard came home that evening, Kate was in the kitchen. "Dr. Chen called me," he said. Kate kept chopping vegetables. "I know. She said you dismissed her. I stopped her from hurting Sophia." "Hurt is subjective." Kate set down the knife. She was sobbing. "Babies cry during treatment all the time." "Not like that." Richard leaned against the counter. "Dr. Chen specializes in cases like Sophia's. She's had success with dozens of children." "Good for her." "Kate, I won't torture her." "It's not torture, it's therapy." "It's both." Richard pushed off the counter. "I'm overriding your decision. Dr. Chen will continue treatment twice a week." Kate turned to face him. "Then you'll have to be here." "I'm working." "So am I. This is your job. My job is to care for them, not hurt them." Richard's jaw tightened. "You're fired." The word landed like a physical blow. Kate stared at him. "What?" "You're fired. I need someone who will follow medical recommendations." "Medical recommendations?" Dr. Chen is a licensed... Dr. Chen is a specialist, not their primary doctor, not their neurologist, not their... She has expertise you don't have. I have 6 months of daily experience with your children, and she has 10 years with hundreds of children. Kate removed her apron slowly, folded it, set it on the counter. "When do you want me gone?" Richard's expression shifted. "I didn't mean..." "Yes, you did." "Kate, He stopped, reset. "I'm not actually firing you. You just said, 'I'm frustrated. You're refusing treatment that could help Sophia. I'm refusing treatment that will traumatize her. That's not your call to make." Kate picked up her apron again, put it back on. "Then whose call is it?" "Mine. I'm her father." "Then you stay home and implement Dr. Chen's protocol." Richard was quiet. "That's what I thought," Kate said. She returned to chopping vegetables. Richard stood there for another moment, then left the kitchen. Kate's hands were shaking. She set down the knife, gripped the counter edge, breathed. The house was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of Richard's office door closing. Kate looked at the ceiling, toward the nursery 2 floors above. Then she finished making dinner. Mrs. Hale returned that weekend, unannounced. Kate heard the car in the driveway at 9 a.m., too early for a planned visit. She was in the nursery, doing morning exercises with the twins. The front door opened. "Richard?" Kate continued Gabriel's stretches. Footsteps on the stairs. Mrs. Hale appeared in the doorway, breathing hard. "Where's Richard?" "His office." "I need to speak with him." "He's on a call." Mrs. Hale entered the nursery, stopped beside the mat. "Has Sophia walked yet?" Kate adjusted Gabriel's position. "No." "Why not?" "Because she can't bear weight." Pastor Michael said. Pastor Michael doesn't have a medical degree. Mrs. Hale knelt beside the mat, placed her hand on Sophia's head. I'm praying for you every day. Sophia didn't react. We had to stop Dr. Chen's treatment, Kate said. Mrs. Hale looked up. Why? Because it was hurting her. Sometimes healing requires discomfort. There's a difference between discomfort and pain. How do you know? Kate lifted Gabriel, settled him in his bouncer. Because I'm with them every day. So am I. Mrs. Hale's voice was firm. In spirit, that's not the same thing. It's more powerful. Kate began Sophia's exercises. Power doesn't change reality. Faith does. Faith changes perception, not neurology. Mrs. Hale stood. You're very cynical. I'm very tired. That's because you're carrying this alone. Kate completed Sophia's set, lowered her carefully. I'm carrying it with your son. Richard is doing his best. His best is working 16-hour days while I'm here. He's providing for them. I know. Kate met Mrs. Hale's eyes. I'm not criticizing him. I'm stating a fact. Mrs. Hale moved toward the door, stopped. I'm concerned about you. Don't be. You're burning out. I'm managing. Barely. Mrs. Hale's voice softened. You need rest. I need Sophia to walk. So do I. Mrs. Hale paused, but wanting something doesn't make it happen. After she left, Kate sat on the floor between the twins, exhausted. Gabriel reached toward her with his right hand, an intentional movement, controlled. Kate took his hand, held it. Good job, she said quietly. That night, Kate couldn't sleep. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the baby monitor. Both twins were quiet. The house was still. At 2:00 a.m. she got up. She walked to the nursery, stood in the doorway. The nightlights cast enough glow to see both cribs, both babies sleeping. Kate entered, moved to Sophia's crib. The baby was on her back, arms spread, brace removed for the night. Her legs were bent at awkward angles, the way they always settled when unsupported. Kate reached into the crib, gently straightened Sophia's legs, held them in alignment. Sophia didn't wake. Kate counted to 60. Released, the legs bent again immediately. She straightened them once more, held longer. Same result. Kate looked up at the camera in the corner, the one with the clearest view of the cribs. She wondered if Richard was watching now, if he ever watched at night, if he saw these moments when Kate tried things she knew wouldn't work, but tried anyway. She released Sophia's legs, left the nursery, returned to bed. Sleep didn't come. At 4 a.m., her phone buzzed, a text from Richard. Are you awake? Kate stared at the message, then replied, Yes. Meet me downstairs. She got up, pulled on a robe, went to the kitchen. Richard was sitting at the table, laptop open, coffee mug beside him. You've been watching the cameras, Kate said. He didn't deny it. I watched you try to straighten her legs. Kate sat across from him. It doesn't work. I know. Then why did you want to talk? Richard closed his laptop. Because I saw your face when the legs bent again. Kate didn't respond. You looked like you wanted to cry, Richard said. I didn't cry. No, you didn't. He picked up his coffee, set it down without drinking. You never do. Crying doesn't help them. Neither does pretending you're fine. Kate looked at him directly. I am fine. You work 18 hours a day. You haven't left this house in 3 months. You sleep 4 hours a night. That's not fine. It's necessary. It's unsustainable. Kate stood. If you're going to fire me again, just do it. I'm not firing you. Richard stood as well. I'm apologizing. Kate stopped. For what? For asking you to do more than one person can do. The words settled between them. I accepted this job knowing what it required, Kate said finally. No one could have known what it required. I should have. How? Kate looked away. I've worked with special needs children before. I knew. You didn't know. They'd be twins. You didn't know the severity. You didn't know my mother would show up every month with a new miracle cure. Richard moved around the table. You didn't know I'd be useless. You're not useless. I'm not here. You're providing for them. That's not enough. Kate met his eyes. It's what you can do. And what you're doing isn't sustainable. Then tell me what is. Richard was quiet for a long moment. I don't know. The next week, a second caregiver started. Her name was Patricia. She was older than Kate, quieter, with 20 years of pediatric nursing experience. Richard hired her to work afternoons, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m., 5 days a week. Kate met her on Monday morning. They stood in the nursery while the twins played on the mat. I've read their files, Patricia said. Spastic diplegia, moderate severity. Yes. What's the current treatment protocol? Kate showed her the schedule on the wall, the exercise sheets, the therapy notes. Patricia listened, asked questions, made notes of her own. You been doing all of this alone? Patricia asked. Yes. That's a lot. It's necessary. Patricia knelt beside the mat, began examining the twins. Her touch was professional, gentle. Gabriel allowed it. Sophia tensed. Sophia doesn't like new people, Kate said. Most special needs, children don't. Patricia completed her assessment, stood. I can handle afternoon routines. Dinner, bath, bedtime prep. They're particular about routines. I'm aware. If something goes wrong, I'll call you immediately. Kate nodded. That afternoon, Patricia arrived at 2:55. Kate was in the nursery, finishing the twins' post-therapy stretches. I'm early, Patricia said. Is that a problem? No. Patricia set down her bag, washed her hands in the bathroom, returned. Walk me through the routine. Kate spent the next hour explaining every detail. How Gabriel liked his bottle held. How Sophia needed breaks during feeding, which sounds meant pain versus discomfort. How to position them for burping. What to do if either one choked. Patricia absorbed everything, asked clarifying questions, repeated key points. At 4 Kate said, I'll stay until dinner. You don't need to. I want to. Patricia didn't argue. Kate watched Patricia feed Gabriel, slower than Kate did it, but competent. Gabriel took the bottle without fuss. Sophia was more difficult. She refused the first attempt, turned her head away on the second, only accepted on the third try. She's stubborn, Patricia said. She's cautious. Those are the same thing. Not quite. By 5:30, both twins had eaten. Patricia changed their diapers, adjusted their clothes, settled them on the mat for supervised play. You're good at this, Kate said. I've done it a long time. Patricia sat in the rocking chair. You can go. Go where? Anywhere. Take a break. Kate looked at the twins on the mat, then at Patricia. I don't take breaks. You should start. Kate left the nursery, slowly, listening to Patricia's voice as she talked to the twins, gentle, steady, professional. She went to her room, closed the door, sat on the edge of the bed. For the first time in 6 months, the house was quiet. For the first time in 6 months, she wasn't responsible for every sound. Kate lay back, stared at the ceiling, and slept for 3 hours. Patricia became part of the routine. She arrived at 3. Kate left at 4, returned at 8 to put the twins to bed. The arrangement worked. Gabriel continued making progress. By mid-December, he could take 5 consecutive steps in the standing frame. His physical therapist talked about graduating to a walker by New Year. Sophia's progress was slower. She'd gained strength in her core, could hold a sitting position for 20 seconds, but she couldn't bear weight, couldn't shift her feet intentionally. Dr. Chen called twice more, offering to resume treatment. Richard took the calls in his office. Kate didn't ask what he decided. In late December, Mrs. Hale visited again. She arrived without warning, as usual. Kate was in the kitchen when she heard the car. Mrs. Hale came directly inside. "Where's Richard?" "Working. I need to see the twins." Kate dried her hands. "They're napping. I'll wait." They sat in the living room. Mrs. Hale clutched her purse, restless. "How are they progressing?" she asked. "Gabriel is improving. Sophia is stable." "Stable isn't good enough. It's better than regressing." Mrs. Hale opened her purse, pulled out a folded paper. "I brought something for you." Kate took it. The paper was a printout of an article. Faith-healing success stories. Children who walked after prayer. Kate set it on the coffee table. "I've seen articles like this." "Have you read them?" "No." "Why not?" "Because they're anecdotal, not scientific." Mrs. Hale leaned forward. "Science doesn't have all the answers. Neither does faith. But faith has hope." Kate picked up the article again, scanned it. The stories were similar. Children with cerebral palsy, parents who prayed, sudden improvements attributed to divine intervention. These children all received medical treatment, Kate said. Prayer was supplemental. Prayer was the catalyst. You can't prove that. You can't prove it wasn't. Kate refolded the paper, handed it back. "Mrs. Hale, I respect your faith, but I can't attribute their progress to prayer when I see them work every day." "Why can't it be both?" "Because one is measurable, the other isn't." Mrs. Hale stood. "You're afraid." "Afraid of what?" "Of believing something might work that you can't control." The words hung in the air. "Maybe," Kate said finally. Mrs. Hale went upstairs alone. Kate heard her moving around in the nursery, heard her voice, praying again, probably. Kate stayed in the kitchen. 15 minutes later, Mrs. Hale came back down. Her face was flushed, eyes bright. "They're going to walk," she said. "Both of them. I've seen it." "Seen it how?" "In prayer." "A vision." Kate set down her dishcloth. "A vision. Sophia will walk by Easter, Gabriel before Christmas. Christmas is next week." "I know." Kate looked at the woman, the certainty in her face, the conviction. "What if they don't?" Kate asked quietly. "They will." "But what if they don't?" Mrs. Hale's expression hardened. "They will because I believe they will." "Belief doesn't change. Belief changes everything." Mrs. Hale moved toward the door. "You'll see." She left. Kate stood alone in the kitchen, staring at nothing. Christmas Eve, Gabriel walked. Not in the standing frame. Not with support. Alone. It happened at 6:47 p.m. Patricia had just left. Kate was preparing the twins for bed, had them both on the mat in their pajamas. Gabriel pulled himself up using the side of the toy chest. Kate noticed, but didn't react. He'd been pulling himself up for 2 weeks now. Could stand for 30 seconds before his legs gave out. But this time he didn't fall. He stood, balanced, looked at Sophia across the mat. Then he lifted his right foot, placed it forward, shifted his weight, lifted his left foot. 3 steps before his legs buckled. Kate moved forward, caught him before he hit the floor. She held him, staring at nothing, heart pounding. Gabriel had just walked, without support, without prompting. Walked. Kate set him back on the mat carefully, as if sudden movement might undo what had happened. Then she called Richard. "He walked," she said when he answered. "What?" "Gabriel. He walked. 3 steps. By himself." Richard was silent. Then, "Are you sure?" "I was watching him." "Did you record it?" Kate looked up at the camera. "The cameras caught it. I'm coming home." He arrived 30 minutes later, went straight to his office, pulled up the footage. Kate followed, stood in the doorway. On the screen, Gabriel stood, took his 3 steps, fell into Kate's arms. Richard played it again and again. My mother was right, he said finally. Kate's saggy chest tightened. Physical therapy was right. She said he'd walk before Christmas. He's been working toward this for months. Richard turned to face her. Does it matter why he walked? Yes. Why? Because if you attribute it to prayer, you'll stop therapy. I won't stop therapy. Your mother will suggest it. Richard was quiet. Then, she's coming over tomorrow. Of course she is. She'll want to pray with them again. Kate leaned against the doorframe. I won't stop her. Will you participate? No. Why not? Because I don't believe prayer made him walk. Kate met Richard's eyes. I believe repetition, consistency, and targeted physical intervention made him walk. And I believe Sophia deserves the same level of effort without waiting for a miracle. Richard turned back to the screen, played the video again. My mother will say, this is the miracle. Let her. You're okay with that? I'm okay with whatever keeps their therapy consistent. Richard paused the video on. The moment Gabriel's foot touched the floor, his first independent step. What if she's right? About what? About Sophia. About her walking by Easter. Kate looked at the screen. Then I'll be happy to be wrong. Mrs. Hale arrived Christmas morning with Pastor Michael. They brought gifts, toys for the twins, a new prayer book for Kate, an expensive bottle of wine for Richard. Kate put the twins in matching Christmas outfits, positioned them on the mat in the living room, and waited. Mrs. Hale knelt beside Gabriel immediately. Show me. Walk for Grandma. Gabriel looked at her, then at the toys across the room. He pulled himself up using the coffee table, stood, balanced. Mrs. Hale clasped her hands. That's it. Come on. Gabriel took a step, then another, then 3 more before falling. Mrs. Hale let out a sound between a sob and a laugh. Praise God. Praise God. She turned to Pastor Michael. Did you see? I saw. Mrs. Hale reached for Sophia, lifted her carefully. Your turn, sweet girl. Sophia couldn't sit unsupported yet. Mrs. Hale held her upright, supported her weight. Walk, Mrs. Hale said. In Jesus' name, how walk. Sophia's legs didn't move. Mrs. Hale adjusted her grip, tried again. By faith. Walk. Sophia began to fuss. Kate moved forward. She's not ready. She's ready if she has faith. She's 18 months old. She doesn't have faith. She has cerebral palsy. Mrs. Hale's face flushed. Do you see what you're doing? You're speaking death over her. I'm speaking reality. Reality is what we believe it is. No. Kate took Sophia from Mrs. Hale's arms. Reality is what her MRI showed, what her neurologist confirmed, what her body can and cannot do. Pastor Michael stepped forward. Sometimes healing requires community faith. Sometimes healing requires physical therapy. Why can't it be both? Because one is measurable and the other is magic. Mrs. Hale stood abruptly. You're preventing her from receiving God's blessing. I'm preventing her from being dropped. Richard appeared from the kitchen. What's going on? Your employee, Mrs. Hale said, voice shaking, doesn't believe in miracles. My employee, Richard said carefully, keeps my children alive. Mrs. Hale looked at her son. She's keeping them limited. She's keeping them safe. Safe isn't enough. It's more than enough. Richard moved to Kate's side. My mother, I love you. But Kate is right. Sophia isn't ready to walk. She will be. By Easter. Maybe? Maybe not. It's not maybe. Mrs. Hale picked up her purse. It's certain. I've seen it. She left the house. Pastor Michael followed. Richard watched through the window as they drove away. She's not going to let this go. I know. She'll keep coming back. I know. Richard turned to Kate. What if Sophia doesn't walk by Easter? then your mother will be disappointed. That's not what I mean. Kate settled Sophia on the mat beside her brother. What do you mean? What if she never walks? The question sat heavy between them. Then we adapt, Kate said finally. To what? To whatever she can do instead. Richard knelt beside the twins, watched Gabriel attempt to pull himself up again. My mother won't accept that. She doesn't have to. It's going to cause problems. It already has. Richard helped Gabriel to his feet, held his hands, let him practice stepping with support. I don't know what I believe anymore. About what? About any of this. Prayer. Therapy. Progress. He looked up at Kate. You're so certain. I'm not certain. I'm consistent. That's not the same thing. It's close enough. Gabriel took 4 supported steps before collapsing against Richard's legs. Richard lifted him, held him close. He's so small, Richard said quietly. He's strong. Is he? Yes. How do you know? Kate moved to Richard's side, placed her hand on Gabriel's back. Because he keeps trying. The weeks following Christmas were tense. Mrs. Hale called twice, daily, morning and evening, asking about Sophia's progress. Each time Kate gave the same report. Sophia is stable, gaining core strength, not yet bearing weight. Each time Mrs. Hale responded the same way. Keep praying, Easter is coming. Kate stopped answering the calls. Patricia noticed the shift. Mrs. Hale is persistent, she said one afternoon. Mrs. Hale is desperate, Kate replied. Desperate for what? A miracle. Patricia was quiet for a moment, then, what do you think will happen if Sophia doesn't walk by Easter? Mrs. Hale will either lose faith or blame me. Which is more likely? Kate looked at Sophia on the mat, struggling to maintain a sitting position. Both. In early February, Gabriel started walking independently. Not just 3 steps, 10, 15, 20. By mid-February, he could walk the length of the nursery, turn, walk back. His physical therapist was ecstatic. This is exceptional progress. Richard recorded every session, sent videos to Mrs. Hale, who responded with scripture, verses, and praise. Sophia watched her brother walk. Kate couldn't tell if she understood what she was seeing. If she knew that what Gabriel could do, she couldn't. The twins' development diverged more each week. Gabriel could pull himself up, cruise along furniture, walk with increasing confidence. Sophia could sit unsupported for 45 seconds. That was progress. But it wasn't walking. In late February, Dr. Chen called again. I'd like to resume treatment with Sophia, she said. We tried that, Kate replied. It didn't work. We didn't give it enough time. We gave it enough time to traumatize her. I've modified the protocol. It's less intensive. Kate glanced at Sophia in her bouncer, watching Gabriel toddle across the room. I'll discuss it with her father. That night, she told Richard about the call. What do you think? He asked. I think Dr. Chen is persistent. That's not what I asked. Kate set down her cup. I think Sophia is progressing at her own pace. Forcing her to move faster might help. Or it might set her back. I can't predict which. So we do nothing? We do what we're doing. Consistent therapy. Regular stretching. Age-appropriate interventions. And if she's not walking by Easter? Then she's not walking by Easter. Richard leaned back in his chair. My mother will be devastated. Your mother's feelings aren't Sophia's responsibility. I know that. Do you? Richard met her eyes. What does that mean? It means you're worried about your mother's faith crisis more than your daughter's actual progress. The words landed hard. Richard stood. That's not fair. Maybe not. But it's true. He left the kitchen. Kate sat alone, staring at her cold coffee. March arrived with rain. Sophia turned 2 years old. They celebrated quietly. Cake neither twin could eat properly. Presents neither twin could open. Photos Patricia took while Kate held Sophia upright in her party dress. Mrs. Hale sent a subsequent card, looking forward to Easter, believing for both of them. Kate put the card in a drawer. By mid-March, Gabriel was walking everywhere, running almost. His gait was unsteady, legs stiff but functional. His neurologist called it remarkable progress. His physical therapist called it best-case outcome. Mrs. Hale called it answered prayer. Sophia still couldn't bear weight. Kate watched her try, saw her pull herself up using the toy chest, saw her legs tremble, saw them fold beneath her. "Come on," Kate said quietly during their private sessions. "Just a little weight." Sophia tried, and failed, and tried again. By late March, Mrs. Hale was calling 3 times daily. Kate stopped answering entirely. Richard fielded the calls instead, his responses growing shorter each time. On March 28th, 2 days before Easter, Mrs. Hale arrived unannounced. Kate was in the nursery, working through Sophia's exercises. Mrs. Hale appeared in the doorway, face set. "Show me," she said. "Show you. What?" "Show me she's ready to walk." Kate set Sophia down gently. "She's not." "Yes, she is." "Mrs. Hale, I've been praying for 6 months. She's ready." Kate stood, moved between Mrs. Hale and the twins. "Prayer doesn't grow muscle tone." "It does if you believe." "I believe in physical therapy." Mrs. Hale moved past Kate, knelt beside Sophia. "Sweet girl, stand up for Grandma." Sophia looked at her, uncertain. Mrs. Hale lifted Sophia to her feet, held her upright. "There. You're standing. You're holding her. She's supporting some of her weight. Some isn't enough." Mrs. Hale released Sophia's arms. Sophia's legs buckled immediately. Kate caught her before she hit the floor. Mrs. Hale's face crumpled. "She should be walking. She will walk when she's ready. She's ready now. I've seen it. You've seen what you want to see." Mrs. Hale stood, breathing hard. "You did this." "Did what?" "You prevented her healing." Kate settled Sophia back on the mat. "I prevented nothing. You have no faith. I have no illusions. That's the same thing. No." Kate turned to face Mrs. Hale fully. "Faith is believing despite uncertainty. Illusion is believing despite evidence." Mrs. Hale's hands trembled. "She will walk on Easter morning." "Mrs. Hale, she will walk because God promised me she would. God doesn't promise motor milestones. God promises everything." Kate picked up Sophia, held her close. "I need you to leave. This is my son's house. And these are his children. And you're upsetting them." Mrs. Hale looked at the twins. Gabriel watching from his bouncer. Sophia pressed against Kate's chest. "I'm coming on Easter," Mrs. Hale said. "And when Sophia walks, you'll see." She left. Kate stood in the empty nursery, holding Sophia, listening to her breathe. The prayer book was still on the dresser. Kate didn't open it. Easter morning arrived cold and gray. Kate dressed the twins in matching outfits, Gabriel in a tiny suit, Sophia in a white dress that required careful positioning because of her brace. Mrs. Hale arrived at 9 a.m., Pastor Michael beside her. They carried flowers, a new Bible, and an expression of absolute certainty. "Where are they?" Mrs. Hale asked. "Living room," Richard said. He'd been up since dawn, pacing. Kate had positioned both twins on the mat. Gabriel was standing, holding onto the coffee table. Sophia was sitting, supported by a cushion. Mrs. Hale knelt immediately. "Today is the day." Kate said nothing. Pastor Michael opened his Bible. "Shall we pray?" "Yes," Mrs. Hale said. They prayed for 20 minutes. Long, elaborate prayers asking for healing, for miracles, for Sophia to walk before the day ended. The twins sat quietly, tolerating the hands on their heads, the oil on their foreheads, the fervent words. When the prayers finished, Mrs. Hale lifted Sophia. "Stand," she said. Sophia's legs dangled. "Stand," Mrs. Hale repeated, lowering Sophia's feet to the floor. Sophia couldn't support herself. Mrs. Hale held her upright, voice rising. "In Jesus' name, stand." Sophia's legs trembled, collapsed. Mrs. Hale tried again and again. After the fifth attempt, Kate moved forward. "That's enough." "No," Mrs. Hale's voice broke. "She has to walk. She can't. She can. God promised." "God didn't promise anything." Kate took Sophia carefully. "You promised yourself something you couldn't control." Mrs. Hale's face went pale. "You're wrong. I'm not. She will walk. Eventually, maybe. But not today. But you saw what you needed to see." Mrs. Hale looked at Pastor Michael. Tell her faith works." Pastor Michael was quiet. Then, "Sometimes healing takes time. You said Easter. I said we should believe for Easter. That's the same thing." "No." Pastor Michael closed his Bible. "It's not." Mrs. Hale turned to Richard. "Say something." Richard looked at his mother, then at Sophia in Kate's arms. "Kate is right. She's not Mom." Richard's voice was firm. "Kate is right. Sophia isn't ready to walk. Maybe by next month, maybe by next year, but not today." Mrs. Hale's expression shifted through several emotions: shock, denial, grief. Then she stood, picked up her purse, and left without another word. Pastor Michael followed. The door closed. Silence. Richard sat heavily on the couch. "She won't recover from this." Kate settled Sophia on the mat beside her brother. "She'll recover. It'll just take time." "How much time?" "However long it takes her to accept reality." Richard looked at his children. Gabriel had pulled himself up again, was attempting to walk. Sophia was watching him, one hand reaching out as if she could do the same. "What if she never accepts it?" Richard asked. "Then that's her choice. It'll break our relationship." "Maybe." Richard ran his hand through his hair. "I don't know how to fix this." Kate sat beside him. "You can't. She has to fix it herself." "By accepting that Sophia won't walk?" "Accepting that Sophia will walk when Sophia is ready, not when prayer demands it." They sat in silence, watching the twins. Gabriel took 5 steps before falling. Sophia clapped her hands. Mrs. Hale didn't visit for 3 weeks. She called once, spoke to Richard for 5 minutes, didn't ask about the twins. Kate continued their therapy. Sophia's core strength improved. She could sit unsupported for 2 minutes, could reach for toys, could roll from back to stomach efficiently. Still couldn't bear weight. In mid-April, Dr. Chen called again. "I've developed a new protocol." Kate recognized the persistence. "What kind?" "Aquatic therapy. The water supports their weight while building strength." "Sophia hates baths." "This is different. It's in a therapeutic pool." Kate glanced at Richard, who was listening from across the room. "I'll discuss it." After she hung up, Richard asked, "What do you think?" "I think it's worth trying." "You do?" "If she hates it, we stop. If it helps, we continue." "That's more open-minded than I expected." Kate looked at him. "I'm not against new treatments. I'm against traumatic ones." "What's the difference?" "Respect for the child's experience." Richard nodded slowly. "Set it up." The aquatic therapy began in May. The facility was an hour away, a specialized center with a heated pool, trained therapists, equipment designed for pediatric use. Kate took Sophia twice weekly. Patricia stayed with Gabriel. "The first session," Sophia screamed. The second, she cried, but didn't scream. By the third, she tolerated it. By the fourth, she seemed to enjoy it. The therapist, a woman named Lauren, was patient and skilled. She held Sophia in the water, supported her weight, encouraged her to kick. "She's responding well," Lauren said after the 6th session. "Define well." Her legs are moving more freely in the water. She's bearing some weight when I support her. Some? Maybe 20%. Kate watched Sophia float in Lauren's arms, legs kicking weakly. Is that progress? It's the beginning of progress. Kate drove home in silence, Sophia asleep in her car seat. At home, Richard met them in the driveway. How did it go? She's responding. That's good? It's something. Richard lifted Sophia from the car, carried her inside. Kate followed. In the nursery, Gabriel was attempting to stack blocks. He could hold them now, could place one on top of another before they fell. Richard set Sophia on the mat beside her brother. She didn't attempt to stack blocks, just watched Gabriel try. She's jealous, Richard said. She's not jealous, Kate replied. She's observing. What's the difference? Jealousy is emotion. Observation is learning. Richard knelt beside Sophia, handed her a block. She held it for 3 seconds, then dropped it. She's trying, Richard said quietly. She's always trying. In late May, Mrs. Hale called Richard. Kate didn't hear the conversation, but she heard Richard's voice through his office door. Low, tense, firm. When he emerged, his expression was carefully neutral. My mother wants to visit, he said. All right? She wants to apologize. Kate looked up from folding laundry. For what? For Easter. For the pressure. She doesn't need to apologize to me. She thinks she does. Kate set down the shirt she was folding. What do you think? I think she's trying to rebuild the relationship. With me or with you? Both. Kate nodded. When is she coming? This weekend, Saturday. I'll make sure the twins are presentable. Mrs. Hale arrived Saturday at 10 a.m. alone. No pastor, no prayer book, just her purse and a quieter version of herself. Kate let her in, led her to the living room where the twins were playing. Gabriel was walking around the coffee table, steady now. Sophia was on her stomach, attempting to push herself up with her arms. Mrs. Hale stood in the doorway, watching. They're getting so big, she said finally. They are. Mrs. Hale entered, slowly sat on the couch. May I hold Sophia? Of course. Kate lifted Sophia, placed her in Mrs. Hale's arms. The older woman held her carefully, as if she might break. I was wrong, Mrs. Hale said. Kate sat in the chair opposite. About what? About Easter, about demanding she walk on my timeline. Mrs. Hale looked at Sophia. I wanted it so badly that I stopped seeing her. What do you see now? Mrs. Hale traced Sophia's face with one finger. I see a child who's trying. She is. Will she walk? Yes. When? When she's ready. Mrs. Hale's eyes filled. I'm sorry I pressured you. You were scared. That's not an excuse. No, but it's an explanation. Mrs. Hale held Sophia closer. Does she know I love her? She knows you care about her. Love is a concept she won't understand for years. But I can still show her. Yes. Mrs. Hale looked at Kate. How do I do that? Come regularly. Hold her. Play with her. Be present without expectations. That's all? That's everything. Mrs. Hale nodded slowly. Mrs. Hale started visiting monthly. No prayers, no pressure. Just visits. She'd sit on the floor with the twins, hand them toys, watch them play. Gabriel would walk to her, show her things. Sophia would sit nearby, watching. She's so quiet, Mrs. Hale said during one visit. She's observant, Kate replied. She watches Gabriel constantly. She's learning from him. Learning what? How to move, how to interact, how to exist in a body that works. Mrs. Hale looked at Sophia. I wish I could make it easier for her. You can't. I know. Mrs. Hale picked up a block, handed it to Sophia. But I can be here. Yes. June arrived with heat. Sophia turned 2.5. The aquatic therapy continued twice weekly. By mid-June, Sophia could bear 40% of her weight in the water. By late June, 50%. "We're making real progress," Lauren said. Kate watched Sophia float, legs moving more confidently. "When do we try weight-bearing on land?" "Soon, maybe July." Kate nodded. At home, Sophia's sitting improved. She could maintain position for 5 minutes without support, could reach for toys without falling, could rotate her trunk to look behind her, still couldn't stand. In early July, Mrs. Hale visited. Kate was in the nursery, working through Sophia's afternoon exercises. Mrs. Hale appeared in the doorway. "May I help?" she asked. Kate paused. "With the exercises?" "Yes." Kate considered. "All right." She showed Mrs. Hale how to position Sophia's legs, how to provide resistance, how to count reps. Mrs. Hale's hands were slower than Kate's, less confident, but careful. "Like this?" Mrs. Hale asked. "A little more pressure." Mrs. Hale adjusted. "Good." They worked through the routine together, 20 minutes of stretches, strengthening, positioning. When they finished, Mrs. Hale sat back. "You do this every day?" "Multiple times a day." "That's exhausting." "It's necessary." Mrs. Hale looked at Sophia on the mat. "She's lucky to have you." Kate didn't respond. "I mean it," Mrs. Hale said. "I couldn't do what you do. You could if you had to." "No." Mrs. Hale shook her head. "I couldn't. I'd be too afraid." "Afraid of what?" "Of failing, of not being enough." Kate met her eyes. "I'm afraid of that too. You don't show it. Showing fear doesn't help them." Mrs. Hale was quiet. Then, "What does help?" "Showing up, every day, regardless of progress." Mrs. Hale nodded slowly. "That's what faith should be." "Yes." In late July, Sophia bore full weight on land for the first time. It happened during physical therapy. The therapist had her in the standing frame, providing minimal support. "Ready?" the therapist asked. Kate nodded. The therapist released her support slightly. Sophia's legs trembled but held. For 3 seconds, Sophia supported her own weight. Then her legs buckled. But for 3 seconds, she'd done it. The therapist grinned. "That's a breakthrough." Kate felt something in her chest. Not quite joy, not quite relief. Something between hope and recognition. That evening, she told Richard. "She stood," he asked, "for 3 seconds. On her own, with minimal support." Richard sat heavily on the couch. "That's incredible." "It's the beginning." "Of what?" "Of weight-bearing. Eventually walking." "When?" Kate looked at him directly. "I don't know. Months maybe. Could be longer." "But she will walk?" "Yes." Richard exhaled. "Should we tell my mother?" "Tell her what?" "About Sophia standing." Kate considered. "Tell her Sophia's making progress. Don't set a timeline. She'll ask when. Tell her you don't know. She won't like that. She doesn't have to." Richard called his mother that night. Kate heard his voice through the wall, patient, careful, honest. When he finished, he found Kate in the kitchen. "She asked when Sophia will walk," he said. "What did you say?" "I said I don't know. That we're taking it one day at a time." "How did she respond?" "She said she's praying for Sophia's timeline, not hers." Kate rinsed a dish, set it in the drainer. "That's progress." "For my mother or for Sophia?" "Both." August passed in routines, therapy, exercises, meals, sleep. Sophia's weight-bearing improved. By mid-August, she could hold herself up for 10 seconds. By late August, 15. Gabriel started preschool, a special program for children with developmental delays. He went twice a week. Patricia dropped him off. Kate picked him up. Sophia stayed home with Kate, continued her therapy. The divergence between the twins was visible now. Gabriel walked, ran, climbed. Sophia sat, reached, Tried. Kate watched Sophia watch her brother, wondered what she understood, if she felt the difference, if it registered as loss or simply as reality. In early September, Mrs. Hale visited for Gabriel's 3rd birthday. They celebrated quietly. Cake, presents, photos. Gabriel could blow out his candles himself. Sophia needed help. After cake, Mrs. Hale sat beside Kate on the couch. "She's still not walking," she said quietly. "No." "When do you think?" "I don't think. I observe." "What are you observing?" "Consistent progress, slow but measurable." Mrs. Hale watched Sophia on the mat, attempting to pull herself up using the coffee table. She'd been trying for 10 minutes, still hadn't succeeded. "It's hard to watch," Mrs. Hale said. "Yes." "Doesn't it break your heart?" Kate looked at Sophia, the determination on her face, the effort in every movement. "No. No? She's not broken. She's working." Mrs. Hale was quiet. Then, "I wish I could see it that way." "You can." "How?" "By changing what you're measuring." "What do you mean?" Kate gestured to Sophia. "You're measuring her against Gabriel, against milestones, against expectations. Measure her against herself instead." "I don't understand." 6 months ago, she couldn't sit unsupported. Now she can. 6 months from now, she'll do something she can't do today. That's progress. Mrs. Hale watched Sophia try again to pull herself up. Fail again. Try again. "She doesn't give up," Mrs. Hale said. "No. That's faith." Kate looked at the older woman. "Maybe it is." In late September, Sophia pulled herself to standing. She used the toy chest, gripped it with both hands, pulled. Her legs shook, her arms trembled, but she stood. Kate was folding laundry. She saw it from the corner of her eye, stopped mid-fold, watched. Sophia stood for 5 seconds. Then her legs gave out and she sat down hard. She didn't cry. She turned to Kate, expression uncertain. Kate knelt beside her. "You did it." Sophia looked at her hands, then at the toy chest as if trying to understand what had just happened. "Try again," Kate said quietly. Sophia reached for the toy chest, pulled. This time she stood for 7 seconds. Kate called Richard. She stood, on her own. "When?" "Just now." "Is she still standing?" "No, but she did it twice." Richard's voice changed, lighter, almost, breaking. "I'm coming home." He arrived 30 minutes later, went straight to the nursery. Sophia was on the mat, Gabriel beside her, both playing with blocks. "Show me," Richard said. Kate lifted Sophia, positioned her near the toy chest. "Try for your dad." Sophia looked at the toy chest, then at Richard, then pulled herself up. She stood for 6 seconds. Richard knelt, eye level with his daughter. "You're incredible." Sophia didn't respond, just looked at him, then sat down. Richard turned to Kate, eyes wet. "She's going to walk." "Yes." "When?" "When she's ready." "That's what you always say, because it's always true." Richard stood, moved to the window, looked out. "I need to call my mother." "Don't build expectations." "I won't." "Richard, I'll tell her Sophia is making progress, that we're proud of her, nothing more." "Good." He made the call from his office. Kate heard his voice, steady, measured, careful with his words. When he returned, he said, "She wants to come. Next weekend." "All right." She promised no pressure. "We'll see." Mrs. Hale kept her promise. She arrived Saturday, empty-handed except for small toys for both twins. No prayer book, no pastor, just herself. She sat on the floor with Sophia, handed her blocks, watched her attempt to stack them. "She's gotten stronger," Mrs. Hale said. "Yes." "Her hands are steadier." Physical therapy has been focusing on fine motor control. Mrs. Hale handed Sophia another block. "When will she walk?" "When she's ready." I'm not asking for a timeline. I'm asking what you think. Kate set down the laundry she was folding. I think she'll walk before she's 4. That's more than a year away. Yes. That seems long? It's appropriate for her diagnosis. Mrs. Hale nodded slowly. And if it takes longer? Then it takes longer. You're very patient. I don't have another choice. You do. You could quit. Kate looked at the older woman. I won't quit. Why not? Because they need consistency. They'd adjust to someone else. Maybe. But I'm here now. And I made a commitment. Mrs. Hale placed her hand on Sophia's back. I'm grateful for that. Kate returned to folding laundry. Your son is grateful. That's what matters. No. Mrs. Hale met Kate's eyes. I'm grateful, and I should have said it months ago. October passed in incremental progress. Sophia could pull herself to standing consistently, could hold herself up for 20 seconds, could take one shuffling step while holding onto furniture before her legs gave out. One step was not walking, but one step was progress. In November, Sophia took 2 consecutive steps, then 3. By December, 5. Still holding onto furniture, still unsteady, still requiring support, but moving. Gabriel, meanwhile, was running, climbing, jumping. The difference between them was stark. Kate watched Mrs. Hale watch them during her December visit, saw the tension in the woman's face as Gabriel raced around the room while Sophia sat nearby trying to pull herself up. It's hard, Mrs. Hale said quietly. Yes. Watching them be so different. They've always been different. But now it's obvious. Kate didn't argue. Mrs. Hale moved to Sophia, knelt beside her. I wanted them to have the same life. They'll never have the same life. I know. Mrs. Hale touched Sophia's hair gently. But I wanted it anyway. Wanting doesn't change reality. No. Mrs. Hale looked at Kate. But accepting reality doesn't mean I have to like it. No, Kate agreed. It doesn't. Christmas arrived again. Kate dressed the twins in matching outfits, positioned them for photos, tried to capture the moment. Gabriel posed easily, smiling at the camera. Sophia needed support to sit upright, didn't smile on command. The difference showed in every photo. Mrs. Hale arrived Christmas morning, brought presents, hugged both twins carefully. Merry Christmas, she said to Sophia, holding her close. Sophia tolerated it. After presents, Mrs. Hale said, May I pray with them? Kate hesitated. If you keep it brief. I will. Mrs. Hale prayed quietly, privately, one hand on each twin's head. No oil, no commands, no demands for miracles, just simple prayer for health and strength, progress. When she finished, she said to Kate, Thank you. For what? For letting me pray without judgment. I never judged your prayer. I judged the expectation attached to it. Mrs. Hale nodded. I understand that now. January brought cold weather and new routines. Gabriel started full-time preschool. Sophia continued therapy at home with Kate. The aquatic therapy continued twice weekly. In late January, during a pool session, Lauren said, I think she's ready. Ready for what? To try walking in the water, with support. Kate watched Sophia float, legs moving freely. All right. Lauren positioned a therapy walker in the water, a lightweight frame with floats attached. She placed Sophia's hands on the handles, supported her, trunk. Okay, sweetie. Let's try. Sophia looked uncertain. Just one step, Lauren encouraged. Sophia shifted her weight, lifted one foot, moved it forward. One step in the water. Lauren moved the walker slightly. One more. Sophia took another step. Then another. 3 steps in water, supported by the walker in Lauren's hands, but 3 steps walking. After the session, Lauren said, That was significant. Kate nodded. When do we transition to land? Maybe March. We need to build more strength first. Kate looked at Sophia in her arms, exhausted from the effort. March. It's just a goal, not a guarantee. I understand. February was quiet. Sophia continued pool therapy, continued home exercises, continued trying to walk while holding furniture. She could take 7 steps now before her legs gave out. 7 steps was, not walking, but 7 steps was closer. In late February, Mrs. Hale called. I had a dream, she said. Kate braced herself. What kind of dream? About Sophia. She was walking, not holding anything, just walking. Mrs. Hale, I'm not saying it means anything. I'm just telling you what I saw. Kate was quiet. You think I'm being foolish again? Mrs. Hale said. No. I think you're being hopeful. Is there a difference? Yes. Foolish demands a specific outcome. Hopeful allows for possibilities. Mrs. Hale was quiet. Then, that's a kinder way of thinking about it. It's a more sustainable way. I'm trying to be more sustainable. I know. Is it working? Kate looked at Sophia across the room, pulling herself up using the coffee table. Yes. March arrived with signs of spring. Sophia turned 3 on March 12th. They celebrated with cake, songs, presents. Gabriel sang enthusiastically. Sophia watched him, hands clapping slightly off rhythm. Progress. 2 days after her birthday, during physical therapy, something changed. The therapist positioned Sophia with the parallel bars, 2 waist-height rails she could hold while attempting to walk. Let's try, the therapist said. Sophia gripped the rails, pulled herself up. Her legs held. Now take a step. Sophia looked at Kate as if asking permission. Kate nodded. Sophia shifted her weight, lifted her right foot, moved it forward, then her left, then her right again. 3 steps between the parallel bars, holding the rails with both hands. The therapist's face lit. That's it. That's walking. Kate's chest tightened. Again, the therapist said, repositioning Sophia. Sophia walked 4 steps this time, then 5. By the end of the session, she could walk the full length of the bars, 8 steps total. This is major, the therapist said. She's walking with support. Kate nodded, unable to speak. After the therapist left, Kate called Richard. She walked, Kate said. How many steps? 8, with the parallel bars. Silence. Then, I'm coming home. He arrived within an hour, went straight to the nursery. Kate had positioned the parallel bars in the center of the room. Sophia sat nearby, watching. Show me, Richard said. Kate lifted Sophia, positioned her at the bars. Hold on. Sophia gripped the rails. Now walk to me, Kate said, moving to the other end. Sophia looked at her brother, who was watching from his corner, then at her father beside the bars, then at Kate waiting. She took a step, then another, then 6 more until she reached Kate's arms. Richard made a sound between a laugh and a sob. She did it. She did. She's walking. With support, yes. When will she walk without it? I don't know. Richard moved to Sophia, lifted her, held her close. You're incredible, he said into her hair. Sophia didn't respond, just leaned against him, exhausted. That evening, Richard called his mother. Kate heard his voice through the wall, controlled, careful, but underneath it, joy. When he finished, he came to the kitchen where Kate was preparing dinner. She's coming tomorrow, he said. That's fast. She dropped everything. Richard leaned against the counter. She said she knew this day was coming. Faith or hope? Does it matter? To her? Probably. Richard was quiet. Then, thank you. Kate looked up from chopping vegetables. For what? For not giving up on Sophia. I never considered giving up. Most people would have. I'm not most people. No. Richard smiled slightly. You're not. Mrs. Hale arrived the next morning. She walked directly to the nursery, stopped in the doorway. The parallel bars were set up. Sophia sat nearby, watching Gabriel play with trucks. "May I see?" Mrs. Hale asked. Kate lifted Sophia, positioned her at the bars. Sophia gripped the rails without prompting, pulled herself up. Mrs. Hale's hand went to her mouth. "Walk to Grandma," Kate said, moving Mrs. Hale to the far end. Sophia looked at her grandmother, then began to walk. 1 step, 2, 3. By the 8th step, Mrs. Hale was crying. Sophia reached her, and Mrs. Hale lifted her, held her, tears streaming. "You did it," she whispered. "You did it." Kate stepped back, giving them space. Later, after Mrs. Hale had calmed, they sat in the living room while the twins napped. "I was wrong about so many things," Mrs. Hale said. "You were scared. I thought my faith could control outcomes." "Faith can't control anything." "I know that now." Mrs. Hale looked at Kate. "What it can do is sustain you while you wait." "Yes. You taught me that." Kate was quiet. "I don't mean you taught me intentionally," Mrs. Hale clarified. "I mean I watched you show up every day regardless of progress. That's faith without the language of faith. That's commitment." "It's both." Kate didn't argue. Mrs. Hale stood. "I need to go, but I'll be back next week if that's all right." "It's always been all right." "Even when I was difficult?" "Even then." Mrs. Hale nodded, collected her purse, moved toward the door, then stopped. "Will she walk without support?" she asked. "Yes." "When?" "When she's ready." Mrs. Hale smiled, slightly. "That's what you always say." "Because it's always true." April arrived with warmth. Sophia practiced walking every day between the parallel bars. 10 steps, 12, 15. Her legs grew stronger, her balance improved, her confidence increased. By late April, she could walk 20 consecutive steps. The therapist said, "She's ready to try a walker." The walker was different from the parallel bars, a wheeled frame she pushed in front of her, supporting her weight while learning to coordinate movement. On the first try, Sophia pushed the walker 3 steps before stopping. On the second, 5. By May, she could walk the length of the nursery with the walker. Mrs. Hale visited weekly now, sat on the floor with the twins, watched Sophia practice. "How long until she doesn't need the walker?" she asked one afternoon. "Months," Kate said. "Maybe longer." "But she will walk independently?" "Yes." "You're certain?" "As certain as I can be." Mrs. Hale watched Sophia push the walker across the room, turn, push it back. "She's determined." "She's always been determined." "I didn't see it before." "You weren't looking for determination. You were looking for miracles." Mrs. Hale nodded slowly. "This is a miracle." "If you want to call it that." "Don't you?" Kate considered. "I call it the result of consistent, targeted intervention combined with Sophia's own effort. That's a miracle without religious language." Kate looked at the older woman. "Maybe it is." Summer passed in incremental progress. By July, Sophia could walk with the walker independently, 20 steps, 30, 40. By August, she could walk the entire downstairs. By September, she attempted steps without the walker. She took 2 before falling. Kate caught her. "Try again." Sophia pulled herself up, tried again. 3 steps this time, then 5. By October, she could walk 10 steps without support before her legs gave out. 10 steps was walking. Mrs. Hale witnessed it during a visit. She didn't cry this time. Just smiled, hands clasped, watching quietly. "She's doing it," she said. "Yes." "On her own timeline." "Yes." Mrs. Hale looked at Kate. "Thank you for believing in that." "I didn't believe in it. I accepted it." "What's the difference?" "Belief implies faith. Acceptance implies acknowledgement of reality." "And which one helped Sophia walk?" Kate watched Sophia take another series of steps, stumble, catch herself. Both. November arrived with cold wind. Sophia could walk 15 steps consistently now, 20 on good days. She still fell frequently, still needed the walker for long distances, still tired quickly, but she walked. Gabriel started kindergarten. Sophia stayed home, continued therapy. The gap between them remained visible but felt less absolute. Gabriel could run, Sophia could walk. Different speeds, different methods, both mobile. In late November, during a routine checkup, Sophia's neurologist said, "Her progress is remarkable." Remarkable? Richard asked. Given the severity of her birth injury, we didn't expect this level of function. What did you expect? The neurologist hesitated. Long-term mobility aids, possibly a wheelchair. Kate's hands tightened in her lap. But she's walking, Richard said. She is, which suggests either we misassessed the initial severity or she's responded exceptionally well to intervention. Which do you think it is? Both, probably. The neurologist made notes in Sophia's chart. Continue her current therapy. We'll reassess in 6 months. In the car on the way home, Richard said, Did you know they expected her to need a wheelchair? Yes. When did they tell you? When she was 6 months old. Why didn't you tell me? Because expectations limit possibility. Richard was quiet. You never believed that outcome. I believed it was possible. I just didn't accept it as inevitable. What's the difference? Possible requires acknowledgement. Inevitable requires resignation. Shores looked at her. You never resigned? No. Why not? Kate watched the road. Because she never did. December arrived with the holidays. On Christmas morning, Kate dressed the twins in matching outfits again. Gabriel posed eagerly. Sophia needed no support to sit upright this time. Mrs. Hale arrived with gifts, hugged both twins. After presents, she said, May I pray? Yes, Kate said. Mrs. Hale prayed briefly, thanking God for progress, for strength, for another year together. When she finished, she looked at Kate. That's better, isn't it? Yes. Gratitude instead of demands. Yes. It took me 3 years to learn that. Kate smiled slightly. Most people never learn it. After Mrs. Hale left, Richard said, She's different now. She accepted reality. You helped her do that. I didn't help her. I just refused to enable her denial. Richard pulled Kate close, kissed her forehead. Same thing. January arrived with snow. On a Tuesday afternoon, while Kate was preparing dinner, Sophia walked into the kitchen. Not with her walker, not holding furniture, just walked. 23 consecutive steps from the living room doorway to where Kate stood at the counter. Kate turned, saw her, froze. Sophia reached the counter, grabbed Kate's leg for support, looked up. Did you see me? Sophia asked, her first full sentence without prompting. Kate knelt, eye level with the child. I saw you. I walked by myself. You did. Like Gabriel. Yes. Like Gabriel. Sophia smiled, not the uncertain expression she usually wore, but genuine pride. Kate pulled her close, held her. The cameras recorded everything. That evening, Kate showed Richard the footage. He watched Sophia walk across the kitchen, turn, walk back. She's really walking, he said. Yes. Independently. Yes. Richard played the video again, and again. On the third viewing, he said, My mother needs to see this. Call her. He did. Mrs. Hale arrived the next day, watched the footage, cried, quietly. She did it, she said. She did. On her own timeline. Yes. Mrs. Hale looked at Sophia across the room, walking between toys. Thank you for not giving up on her. I never considered it. Most people would have. I'm not most people. Mrs. Hale smiled through tears. No, you're not. Spring arrived with new growth. Sophia walked everywhere now. Still unsteady, still slow, still using her walker for long distances. But walking. In April, during a therapy session, the physical therapist said, "I think we can reduce to once weekly." Kate looked at Sophia practicing steps across the mat. "Are you sure?" "She's progressed beyond intensive intervention. Now it's maintenance and refinement." "What about her endurance?" "That will improve with practice. She doesn't need me to supervise that." Kate nodded slowly. After the therapist left, she called Richard. "They're reducing her therapy," she said. "Is that good?" "It means she's progressed enough that intensive intervention isn't necessary anymore." "So it's good." "Yes." Richard was quiet. Then, "We did it. Sophia did it. With your help. With everyone's help. Don't diminish your role." Kate looked at Sophia across the room, walking toward her brother. "I won't diminish hers either." May arrived with warmth and routine. Sophia walked to the mailbox with Kate, walked to the park, walked through the grocery store holding Kate's hand instead of riding in the cart. Different from other 4-year-olds, slower, more deliberate, but walking. In June, Kate received a job offer. A family in Connecticut needed a nanny for premature twins. The pay was higher, the situation less complicated. She considered it for 3 days. On the 4th day, she declined. When Richard asked why, she said, "Because I'm not done here." "Done with what?" Kate gestured to the twins across the room. Gabriel was building with blocks. Sophia was attempting to climb onto the couch. "Watching them grow," Kate said. "You could watch other children grow." "I could, but I made a commitment to these children." "Commitments end. Not mine." Richard was quiet. Then, "You're staying?" "Yes." "For how long?" "As long as you need me." Richard pulled her close. "Thank you." Kate didn't respond. Just watched Sophia finally succeed in climbing onto the couch, exhausted from the effort but smiling. Summer passed in ordinary days. Beach trips, park visits, therapy once weekly. Sophia's walking continued improving. Her endurance increased, her balance steadied. She'd never walk like Gabriel, never run without limitation, never move through the world without people noticing the difference. But she moved. In August, Mrs. Hale visited. She sat on the floor with the twins, built block towers with Gabriel, watched Sophia attempt the same. Sophia's towers were smaller, less stable, but she built them. "They're so different," Mrs. Hale said. "They always have been, but they're both whole." Kate looked at her. "They were always whole?" "I know, but I didn't see it before." "What do you see now?" Mrs. Hale watched Sophia knock down her tower, immediately begin rebuilding. Determination, resilience, progress. Yes, that's what faith looks like without demands. "Maybe," Mrs. Hale smiled, "you still won't claim faith." "I claim observation and commitment. Same thing." "Not quite. Close enough." September arrived with new routines. Gabriel started 1st grade. Sophia started pre-K, a specialized program for children with developmental delays. Kate drove her every morning, picked her up every afternoon. Sophia loved school. She came home with art projects, stories about friends, pride in her accomplishments. One afternoon in October, Kate picked her up and Sophia said, "I walked all by myself today." "Where?" "From my classroom to the playground." "That's far." "I know. My teacher said I'm getting really strong." Kate looked at Sophia in the rearview mirror. "You are." "Will I always need my walker?" The question landed heavy. "I don't know," Kate said honestly. "Gabriel doesn't need one." "No. Why do I?" Kate pulled into the driveway, turned to face Sophia. "Because your body works differently than Gabriel's." "Is that bad?" "No, it's just different. Different is harder. Sometimes, but you've always done hard things." Sophia considered this. Like walking? Like walking. And climbing? And climbing. And talking? Yes. Sophia nodded slowly. I'm good at hard things. You are. November arrived with Thanksgiving. The whole family gathered. Richard, Kate, the twins, Mrs. Hale, Richard's brother and his family. The house was full, loud, chaotic. Sophia walked among the guests without her walker, greeting people, showing them her room. Mrs. Hale watched from the couch, expression soft. She's confident, she said to Kate. She is. That's new. It's been building. Since when? Since she started believing she could do things. Mrs. Hale was quiet. I wish I'd believed that from the beginning. You believe it now. That's what matters. Does it make up for the doubt? There's nothing to make up for. Doubt is human, but damaging. Only if it prevents action. Mrs. Hale watched Sophia navigate the crowded room. She's remarkable. She is. So are you. Kate looked at her. For what? For seeing her potential when I only saw her limitations. Kate didn't respond. I mean it, Mrs. Hale said. You gave her something I couldn't. What? Unwavering belief in her capacity. That's not belief, that's observation. It's both. Kate watched Sophia across the room, laughing with Gabriel. Maybe. December arrived with cold and anticipation. On Christmas morning, Sophia walked down the stairs by herself, holding the railing, moving slowly but independently. When she reached the bottom, everyone clapped. Sophia smiled, proud. Later, after presents, Mrs. Hale pulled Kate aside. I have something for you, she said. She handed Kate a small box. Inside was a delicate necklace with a single charm, a tiny pair of footprints. For remembering, Mrs. Hale said. Remembering what? The journey. Sophia's, yours, ours. Kate held the necklace carefully. Mrs. Hale, you don't have to wear it, but I wanted you to have it. Kate looked at the charm. Small, simple, significant. Thank you, she said finally. Mrs. Hale nodded. Thank you for not giving up on any of us. January arrived with routine. Sophia walked into school every morning now. No walker, just her backpack and determination. Her teacher sent progress reports home. Sophia was improving in all areas. Mobility, social skills, communication. Still behind her peers. Still working harder for every milestone, but progressing. One evening in late January, Richard said, I've been thinking. Kate looked up from the dishes. About what? About how long you've been here. 4 years. That's a long time. Yes. Most nannies don't stay that long. I'm not most nannies. Richard moved closer. No, you're not. Kate dried her hands, turned to face him. What are you trying to say? I'm trying to say thank you. And I'm trying to offer you something. Offer me what? Richard pulled out an envelope, handed it to her. Inside was a check, larger than any payment he'd ever made. What is this? Kate asked. A bonus, for everything you've done. Richard, I can't. Yes, you can. You've earned it. Kate looked at the check, then at him. This is too much. It's not enough. She set the check on the counter. I didn't do this for money. I know, but you deserve it anyway. Kate was quiet for a long moment. Then she picked up the check, folded it carefully. Thank you. You're welcome. The cameras stayed on. They always had. From the beginning, when Kate first positioned Gabriel's foot on the mat and started counting, through Sophia's first supported stand, her first walker steps, her first independent movement, through Mrs. Hale's prayers and Pastor Michael's oil and Dr. Chen's restraints, through Kate's exhaustion and Richard's absence and Patricia's steady help, through every fall, every attempt, every small victory, the cameras captured everything, and Kate never stopped. Not when progress was slow, not when outcomes seemed impossible, not when others demanded miracles. She simply showed up. Every day. In the same space. With the same twins. Doing the same work. Because that's what consistency meant. That's what commitment required. And on a Tuesday morning in February, when Sophia walked the entire length of the house without assistance, 43 consecutive steps, her longest distance yet, the cameras captured that too. Kate didn't cry. She just knelt, held Sophia close, and said, "Good job." Sophia smiled against her shoulder. "I did it." "You did. By myself. By yourself." Later, Kate transferred the final files to the output folder, exactly as she'd done hundreds of times before. Methodical, precise, unchanged. Mrs. Hale's prayer book remained on the dresser, unopened. Gabriel ran through the house, comfortable in his body. Sophia walked behind him, slower but determined. And Kate stood in the nursery doorway, watching them both, hands loose at her sides. The work continued. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to Mr. Douglas Tales, where powerful stories unfold one moment at a time.